Hello and welcome to AnimEH, the Canadian-flavored anime podcast. My name is Justin Ashley, and joining me is my esteemed co-host, Johnny Liscombe.
It's good to be back.
It's good to be back indeed, Johnny. It has been, I don't know how long it's been, like over a month, like 2 months?
About a month.
About a month? Oh, okay. So it actually hasn't been that long.
Yeah.
I was giving Kevin shit on Recently Watched because I was like, it's been like 10 million years since we recorded another episode. But in all fairness, we did have the Mark substitute episode, the Friday the 13th episode.
That was a solid episode.
Which, if you have not, and that's coming from somebody that knows very little about those movies, and you're recommending it.
Hey, it got me into watching them, so...
There you go. So if you have not seen the episode with me and Mark where we rank every single Friday the 13th movie, check it out. But that's not why we're here. We are here for a very specific topic. Typically, we do like a summer or a spring recap, something like that. We've already done those videos. So while we're waiting for the fall season to wind down, which I think fall is to like end of November?
Yeah, roughly.
Like we're there right now, but that's going to be next month's episode. We're going to do an in-between topic episode. And did I come up with this topic or did you come up with this topic?
I came up with this one.
Oh, you came up with this one. Okay. I didn't remember. Because it's funny. As I started working on this, I was like, I don't know that, I don't know why I came up with this topic because there's literally only like one show that I really want to talk about, and then a bunch that I kind of just threw in. So why don't you tell us, what is the topic that you came up with? Because you challenged us this week.
So my topic was anime that have been canceled, we would like to be continued, but you refined it for me to anime that we believe deserves a second life.
Yes, anime that deserves a second life, and I'm going to use even another word now, anime that deserves a reboot. So anime that, for whatever reason, either got canceled or it had a shitty ending that was rushed, or it didn't adapt all the source material, or it just ended on a cliffhanger. This is anime that, or maybe even the original anime wasn't that good. Maybe it just had a shitty original adaptation.
I went a little bit further. I included something that I thought would be cool if they just redid it with updated animation.
Right. Yeah. So the original, it's not necessarily bad, but it could use a little bit of an update, right?
Yeah.
So as an example, Full Metal Alchemist. The original anime, a lot of people like, but that ending is kind of, it's not very faithful to the source material, to the original manga. Yeah. And then the animation got a huge upgrade when they redid it and did Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood.
Yes.
Yeah. So, or Hellsing's another good example. Hellsing, same thing. It had a rushed production schedule. The animation doesn't quite hold up. It's the ending they came up with was cobbled together. It was that. Funny enough, both those two, and I had one other one, which was Trigun. Have you ever seen Trigun?
I have not. That's actually the only one you've named that I haven't seen.
So Trigun is another good example where it notoriously had just kind of a lame ending because the manga I don't think was done at the time, so they kind of just made up an ending rather than wait. This is actually where I'm more interested in this because this used to be a thing. When I first started watching anime in the early 2000s, animes that would come out typically would only get 26 episodes. And it was a 26 episode adaptation, and that would be one box set. Sometimes they would count that as season 1 and season 2. It was 13 episodes and then another 13 episodes. Maybe it would even be 25 or 27 episodes, but it always seemed to hover around that 26 episode mark. And it was they wouldn't wait for the manga to catch up.
Yeah.
So they would just they're all right, we've only got the budget to do this 26 episode block, so we have to tell the whole story in this block of episodes. So we're going to condense the story down. At a certain point, we're just going to cut it off, do our own thing, and then make up an ending. We're going to adapt the source material up until a certain point, stop, and then just do whatever the fuck to wrap it up so we have this complete package,
Yeah. And on that note, I'd just like to give a shout out to Attack on Titan for waiting for the source material to get further ahead.
Right. And that's a perfect example of them doing that now, but they didn't used to do that. Like in it, and you could even say like Bleach, kind of. I mean, it didn't wait per se, but I guess that was kind of like it got canceled, came back. But it took a break and came back and then adapted more of the source material.
Yeah.
Because like the reality of this situation is most anime is based off mangas or mangas. However, if you want to make fun of me for calling it manga, I've always called it manga.
I do believe that's the correct way to say it.
I don't know. Most people seem to say manga. To me, that always sounded funny. I always thought manga sounded more like eloquent. I don't know. But most anime is based off of manga, similar to like superhero movies being based off comic books, or movies in general being based off like books, you know? So like Game of Thrones is a good example where they were kind of fucked because George R.R. Martin hadn't finished writing that book series it was based on. So what do?
They wing it.
They wing it. So they just make up an ending to disastrous results, as we saw. Really what they should have done was stop, pause, and then like adapt more later on. Like they should have paused the show for a couple of years, let him fucking finish his series, although that being said, he still hasn't finished it, I don't think. Yeah. Man's gonna fucking die before he finishes it. And then get back into it and then adapt more of it. And animes are now willing to be patient and do that and take the time to go, okay, we're gonna catch up too quick if we just, immediately do green light another season. Why don't we pause, take a break? Because like Attack on Titan, how long did they take that break? Wasn't it like 3 years?
I think it might have been like 5.
Yeah, like it was a huge length of time. And that's a perfect example where they proved you can do that. Because when it came back, it's not like everybody had just forgotten about Attack on Titan. It was just as popular, if not more popular than ever.
Yeah, all the suspense.
Yeah. So like people immediately got back into that show and there was huge hype again. It's the same thing with Bleach, it was on this huge hiatus, comes back, and then now it's super popular again. But they didn't used to do this. This used to be common where they would just wrap it up and that's all you get. There's no second season coming. They're not adapting more of the material. That's it. Fuck you.
Yeah.
And the one that always like pissed me off was Trigun, because I really liked that original anime. That wasn't, well, there's another one on my list that pissed me off the most. But Trigun was an example where like I think it's 26 episodes, the Trigun anime, the original anime. It's highly regarded. It's critically acclaimed. A lot of people like it. I think it was really well made for the time. And it was going to go on my list because it has a cobbled up ending and it's so non-faithful to the manga. Like halfway through, it just kind of does its own fucking thing and goes like, it skips so much shit and it omits tons of characters. And there's so much shit that they didn't get into and didn't adapt. But now we've got Trigun Stampede. So I kind of can't use that anymore. Yeah. Have you watched the new Trigun yet?
Not at all.
Okay. Yeah, it's on my list. I'm going to check it out. The CG, because the new series is Trigun Stampede. It's CG and it's not like more hand-drawn. So it's not 2D. So I wasn't in a rush to go watch that because I was like, I don't really like.
It's easy to mess up.
Yeah. And as and this is more foreshadowing of one of the animes on my list, they can really mess up CG shit. Yeah. Foreshadowing. What could I be talking to? What could I be talking about? Yeah. I gotta be honest. I struggled with, because I was laughing to myself. I'm like, did I come up with this stupid fucking idea for a thing? Because I'm like, I struggled to come up with 5. Because we said 5, right? 5 yes. was what we were gonna aim for. 5 different shows 5 different animes that deserve a reboot. So that could mean they deserve a proper ending. They deserve to be remade entirely from scratch. They deserve another season. Maybe they just never got more seasons. But for whatever, in any way you want to interpret it, these are animes that need a second life. They need to be brought back to life, brought back from the grave. And I had a hell of a time getting 5, John.
Well, you should have texted me. I could have lent you a few.
Yeah. I got the 5, but I'm going to be honest, there's only one on here that I really would like to see come back. The other ones, I could kind of take them or leave them. Like it wouldn't be the end of I wouldn't be heartbroken if they didn't come back. But.
Yeah.
I know. I'm really hyping people up for my list. Everyone's going to be like, what the fuck?
When I came up with the idea and we agreed on 5, I had like 7 pop into mind. I actually
7! Jesus Christ.
Then I went back last night, actually, and I adjusted my notes and removed a couple names and replaced them with a few others.
So you had no problem picking 5?
Not at all.
Okay. This is going to be very interesting. Well, why don't I go first and get one of my lame picks out of the way, because I have a feeling you are probably going to have better picks than me. Now, to be clear, we don't know what the other has written down here. I don't know what you have picked, and you don't know what I have picked. I'm going to be very interested if we have any picks that that are the same. If there's any crossover here at all.
No, that'd be pretty cool.
Typically, it doesn't happen because, as we've learned, we have very different tastes in pop culture and media and anime in general. I'm more of the snob of the two of us. I like more like the classic. I have very high standards when it comes to anime. I like more seinen. I'm not really into the shonen stuff. You are the exact opposite of me, and generally bring different picks to the table. So the odds of us having a crossover are very low.
Well, there is actually one name on my list that I know you've seen.
Okay.
So there's a slim chance.
Maybe it's this one right here. Okay.
Maybe.
So my first pick for animes that deserve a reboot, Soul Eater.
I totally forgot about that one.
Oh, it's not on your list. That's the one that I thought you might have had. Okay. Soul Eater. Have you seen Soul Eater?
I have, yeah.
Yeah. Do you like Soul Eater?
Oh, I love it.
Yeah. Soul Eater. It's very well regarded. It's very well liked. When it first came out, I really liked it. It was a very good adaptation. So Soul Eater, this anime, is from 2008. It had 51 episodes, which is pretty substantial. Not when you compare it to the amount of manga that it's based on, because ultimately it didn't adapt a lot, and we're going to get into that. But the original run was 51 episodes. I don't know which studio put it out, but let's go over the basic plot before I get into more of the nitty-gritty. For anyone that doesn't know the plot of Soul Eater, and feel free to jump in and help me out here, because
sure.
It's got a wild, it's very difficult to summarize the world of Soul Eater. I literally had to take a lot of notes here. So it takes place in an alternate version of Earth, or maybe it's not even on Earth, who knows, but it takes place on an alternate world where there are human beings that can turn into weapons. And by weapons, I mean literally physical weapons. Like
scythes and shit.
Like scythes, hammers, axes, spears. So there's people that can turn into things. I don't think anyone can turn into oh no, yeah, people can turn into guns.
Yeah.
I was just going to say, what am I talking about? Two of the main fucking characters. So yeah, you can also turn into guns. You could turn into throwing stars. You can turn into multiple weapons. So there are human beings that can turn into weapons. And I think they're just called weapons. They don't have a special name.
Yeah, I don't recall if there's a special
I think
name.
they just call them weapons. So there's, for whatever reason, there's people that have supernatural abilities that can turn into weapons, okay? Then so on their own, they can be pretty damn strong. Then there are people called Meisters. And Meisters are human beings that can control and enhance the weapon people. So a weapon person on his own, let's say you could turn into a sword or some shit. You could do a lot, depending on your strength and abilities, you could fuck shit up on your own.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah. And there are characters that do that, that are god tier just as weapons. But if you link, and what do they call it? Soul resonate?
Yes.
Yeah. So if you soul resonate or link up with a Meister, then your power is basically like
tenfold.
It's exponentially increased. Yeah, because the two of you increase each other's power. So ideally, you want a Meister to connect with a weapon. That's the idea. That's the relationship. So they fight in pairs in this world. Okay, what is the conflict of this world? That's where it gets fucking convoluted. But basically, the story takes place at DWMA, which is what is the D and the W? I forget.
I have no idea.
Okay. No, I got it. It's the Death weapons. I should have just wrote out what each one stood for, but it's the Death, Weapons, and Meisters Academy. There we go. That's what it stands for. I believe that's it. Yeah, the Death, Weapons, and Meisters Academy. Doesn't matter. It's some giant school, okay? The giant school is run by Death himself. Literally Death. Like Shinigami, like whatever you want to call it, like Death is an actual character that runs a giant academy where they train individuals to be a part of this organization that essentially helps balance the good and evil in the world. Is that kind of a fair way of putting it? Like their main goal is basically like maintaining order, right?
Yeah.
The world itself, I don't think is very well like established, and it's very convoluted and confusing as to what the fuck the rest of the world looks like, because the majority of the time is in this academy. I think that's actually one of the big flaws of Soul Eater, is that its world is very confusing and not very, like, I don't think it's fleshed out enough. But there are human beings, so like the question is like, what do the Meisters and the weapons actually do? What are they actually doing? You know, like how do they restore order? So there are human beings that when they turn evil, they become evil souls. All of it in this world, everyone has a soul. Like literally, and you can actually see people's souls. Like there are individuals that have the vision to see Johnny Lithcombe's soul and Justin Ashley's black soul, you know, inside him. There are people that have this ability, okay? Once you do evil shit, your soul becomes corrupted and becomes like a red soul, like they visually show it, and you're like an evil spirit. Some evil spirits, for whatever reason, have God tier abilities, and this is where it gets very confusing. So there are souls that, for whatever reason, when they go evil, they have super abilities and yada yada. Okay, so there's other characters that have supernatural abilities in this world. It's up to the academy and that organization, the Meisters and the weapons, to hunt down and kill these evil spirits and eat their souls. Hence, Soul Eater. It's literally what they're doing. Yes. They're eating evil souls. Okay, and the weapon users actually eat the soul, and the more they eat. Is this getting confusing for anyone? Because like, holy shit, this is how much is in this show. But the more they eat, the more powerful they become. Yes.
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 Because I believe it's...
Am I missing anything?
Like, no. You're on the right track. Because I believe it's 100 souls
and one witch.
They become a death scythe.
Yeah. And no, didn't they change it to one witch soul as well?
No. Because what it was in the beginning, Soul had 99 of them.
Right.
And then he ate the witch soul and it reset him.
Right.
Which is actually something that irritates me with the anime.
Which makes absolutely no sense. Yeah, it's fucking stupid. Okay, so I'm glad you just used the word witch, because that's another big element in the show. There are witches and or other supernatural beings. There's also like a werewolf, and I think a mummy shows up at one point. So there's others. And there's a vampire. There's literally a vampire as well. So the main opposing force in this world that like spreads evil is the witch society, or whatever the fuck they're called. And it's a group of witches that are like ridiculously powerful. And for whatever fucking reason, they don't like Soul Society or not Soul Society. I'm quoting Bleach.
I mean, it's the same thing.
It's the same fucking thing, but they don't like the Shinigami Society and just want to like, I guess that's also Bleach, for fuck's sakes. God damn it, anime, be original. So they don't like the Weapon Academy. There we go. And they're just trying to fuck up shit. That's the world of Soul Eater. The main characters we follow they're kids, basically. They're like teenagers, is the way I always interpreted it.
Teens is
they're teens, and they're slowly trying to train and learn more abilities and work their way up the academy ranks in order to, I don't know, just get super strong and
kick ass.
Basically be the best they can. I mean, they don't have necessarily clear goals.
The only one that I'm like clear on was Soul, because his goal was to become a death scythe.
Yes, right. He wanted to be a death scythe. What is a death scythe?
Just I don't even recall completely.
So the death scythe, I know this because I had to look this up. So a death scythe, and that's the whole like eat 100 evil spirits, eat 100 souls. The death scythes are weapons that have become so powerful, they are at the level where they could be used by Death himself. So there's one death, and it's like a title. It's like the king of whatever. And death could wield you if you were a death scythe. That's how powerful you are. So you are powerful enough that death could wield you. That's the idea. So the main character, Maka, her father is a death scythe. So he's at that level. But there's other death scythes in the show that are that level.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we meet some of them, right? Okay, so the original anime is very well liked. Case in point, you really like it. Yeah.
I mean, it's essentially a Halloween anime, right?
It's very... The imagery of this show is very good. It's very striking imagery. Whatever production company did this anime adaptation did a very good job. It's, I would say, like top tier 2D animation. It's colorful as fuck. The fight scenes have great choreography. It's just a really good, high quality anime to watch. Like, I would put it like close to the tier of like Attack on Titan.
Yeah,
Like,
that's fair.
Yeah, or even something like Hellsing Ultimate. Like, it has that really gorgeous animation, very polished looking. The thing I like the most about Soul Eater is how colorful everything is. Like the sky is always like it's not black. It's like a blue, and like the moon is like this bright, smiling yellow fucking thing.
It fucking stands out.
It's a character. Yeah, because the moon and sun in this have like personalities.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is great. They have like faces and shit. So it's just the original adaptation, it in terms of animation was not bad. But in terms of I'm going to give some more praise. This soundtrack is awesome. It's got some bangers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that theme song alone.
Oh, both of them. Both of them.
Yeah.
Like both, because
I could loop that for hours.
Yeah, this theme song, the soundtrack and the theme songs of this show are really good. So there's some really good catchy tracks. It's well liked, but I think it's generally accepted, or I think it's generally felt by most anime fans. The problem with it is the ending is god awful. I don't know for a lot of these, so some of these I had to speculate. So I had trouble finding like exact details, but my guess is the manga wasn't completed, so the anime didn't have an ending to adapt, so they were like, well, we'll just make up an ending. Because it's close to how it ends, but not really, and there's a lot of shit they don't adapt. They adapt like, I don't know, maybe like 50% of the manga. There's like entire arcs they just didn't adapt. So there's all kinds of shit that were not adapted. And consequently, some idiot made the decision of we'll cobble together an ending, and the ending is fucking lame and dog shit. It's a wet fart. It's a terrible ending.
Oh, I mean, it's bad enough I don't recall it at all.
Yeah, so like basically it concludes, without giving exact details, with all the main characters go up against the big bad. How they beat the big bad and how they get there is completely different from the manga. How they get there is so streamlined, they cut out entire like power upgrades, and entire character development is like removed. Because I've actually, believe it or not, I have read all of the manga.
Wow.
I know. Shocking. I know. I actually read all of this manga back when I used to read manga more like regularly. And the way they beat the big bad is just so fucking stupid. It's just lame. It's lame. So yeah, there we go. Soul Eater. So, how would it come back? You can't give it another season because it has a stupid ending. So the only way to bring it back is you have to reboot it from scratch. And that's what I think. I think they should do a Full Metal. This is a good example of I'll call it a Brotherhood. Do it a Brotherhood adaptation. Bring it back as a full reboot, clean reboot. The visuals and the animation weren't the problem. It's what it's adapting. So it needs more seasons, more episodes, and adapt way more of it. Yeah, that's what I would like to see.
I would love it if they'd keep the original animation style.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's not what its problem is. Its problem is it just didn't adapt enough, and it made dumb decisions when it came to the ending. Yeah, that was the problem.
Yeah.
So yeah, there we go. That's my first pick. What do you got? I'm very interested to hear what comes out of that.
Open up the notes
that
here.
list there.
Oops. So this is one. As soon as it ended, I was like immediately disappointed because it was canceled. It's Deadman Wonderland.
I recall it's like there was something off about this. So yeah, I'm gonna bring this. So tell me, what is okay? Deadman Wonderland. Go ahead. Go.
All right. So basically, the plot is the main character Ganta is falsely convicted of murder, or the murder of his entire class, and now he has to learn to survive in a mysterious prison with a perverted take on incarceration, while also looking to clear his name. And when I say perverted take on incarceration, I mean, you ever watch Wipeout?
Yes, I've actually seen this anime.
Yeah?
Yes, not a lot of it, but I know where you're going with this. But yes, you mean like, have you ever seen those shows where contestants compete in obstacle courses and games?
Yes. But instead of eating it, you die.
You die. That's right. Yeah. And I watched the first 2 episodes of this show, and I couldn't get into it. It just wasn't for me.
Yeah.
But I have experience with it. And yes, they do these fucked up challenge games and competitions and like obstacle type things. And then, yeah, if you fuck up, you're dead.
Yeah. So I guess you wouldn't have seen the abilities and shit they introduce. Cause I think it was after episode 2. But it gets into this whole thing with certain characters having an ability with their blood. So they can manipulate their blood in various ways. My favorite being this character, Crow, who slices his forearms and makes like scythes out of his blood. Like they can manipulate their blood.
That sounds very Soul Eater-esque.
Yeah, right?
We're just talking about Soul Eater.
But there's not a whole lot to say about it. It's just them running obstacle courses, fighting for their lives.
But they all have abilities, so like that's where I get
only
confused.
A select few. It's
But
like
when
it's a genetic mutation.
Okay, but wouldn't that be like cheating if you can like do all this shit to like, you know, like because they're kind of superhuman at that point, right?
Yeah.
But they're still competing against like regular humans.
But so the thing is, it becomes like its whole own thing where they compete against each other.
Yep.
So it's not like they're using it in the events and shit against normal people, because most of them died in that first obstacle course anyway.
Yep.
But yeah, they end up fighting each other using all these abilities and shit. Basically, I don't 100% recall, but I basically look at it as them trying to come out on top.
Yep.
And it all somehow stems back to the person who framed him for murder.
And who runs this, like, these games again? Like, refresh my memory.
It's the prison.
Like the government or whatever.
Yeah.
It's basically like the state run.
Like, yeah, it's just
but they're not
the government and whatnot.
But the government's like powerful enough to contain these people with abilities.
Well, like they don't immediately know that they have them.
Yep.
So like Ganta, for example, he doesn't realize he has it until he's already in jail.
Yep.
And then like, I don't know, it goes into like these weird flashbacks. Like there's some girl in there that he doesn't seem to remember, but slowly recalls that he knew as a child and all that.
Yep.
And then he goes, oh crap, I can manipulate my blood. But the issue being, if you lose too much blood or you start like using your abilities too often, you suffer from blood loss and you will pass out.
Okay.
So essentially all these guards have to do to contain them is, you know, couple shots, they bleed a little bit, and they're contained.
So it's not like the best ability in the world.
No, not really.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough.
It's like the ultimate weakness.
What are they trying to do? Like, because they're trying to earn their freedom or whatever?
Yeah.
So you have to compete in the games to earn your freedom. That's the idea.
Yeah. So I didn't actually see far enough because, like, I think it's 13 episodes because they did, like, a special episode.
Yep.
But they never really got far enough to show what, like, this big reward is for your competition.
Yep.
But I take it some sort of freedom.
Oh, so how many episodes was in the original run? Do you know?
So there were 12 episodes plus one special episode.
Only 12?
Yeah.
Okay, so nothing. So fuck all, basically.
And I believe what it was it wasn't popular in Japan.
Okay.
So they just quit producing it.
Simple as that. I mean, it's a business, right?
And
it's
then,
a money business. If it's not making the dough, they're just going to get rid of it.
On that note, the studio that was producing it actually went bankrupt in 2015.
Oh, that doesn't help either. So I guess it really wasn't popular.
Yeah.
Yeah, wow. Okay. What year did this come out, do you know?
I don't remember which year it comes out, but it ended in 2011.
Oh,
so
okay.
I would assume
so
it came out 2011.
Yeah, probably 2010 or 2011.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yep. All right, so what do you want out of a reboot? Like, what do you want them to do? I guess just start it from scratch, right?
I mean, you could, yeah. I mean, I just want more episodes.
Does that have? Did they make up an ending, or does it just end?
It just ends.
Oh, so they could very easily pick it up with another season.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But
So
I
it
mean-
doesn't really need to start over from scratch.
Yeah. I mean, literally, it ends on like a character's backstory. So, like, one of the other characters, it gives their story. He used to be a cop, this and that, shows how he was put into prison, and we never see any more.
So, like, tons of potential that never got fulfilled.
Exactly.
Yeah. How was the original? Like, what did you think of the anime? Like,
I mean, I loved it. It's like I've watched it 3-4 times. Mind you, it was years ago. So, like, I'm quite foggy on a few of the episodes. But yeah, overall, I enjoyed it.
like it was well made, had good animation in that.
The animation had faults. It wasn't flawless.
Yeah.
But I mean, it was also 2011, so you can be a little bit more forgiving.
So it was high quality enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, good for the time.
Okay. So would you want them to tweak the animation style and like mix it up, or are you fine if they like in your perfect select? I'm going to give you unlimited resources. How do you want to bring it back?
So my whole thought is the studio that did it went bankrupt, right? So the animation is never going to be exact. Plus, with like the updates to technology and everything, like from then to now, it's gonna look completely different. Like, doesn't really matter how you swing it. So I think it should just start over from scratch and just be picked up by another studio, whole new animation, and see where it goes.
And just scrap the original?
Yeah, 100%.
See, I'm a physical collector, and I hate when that happens because now you're just stuck with this nothing. Because I know that got released on Blu-ray because I've seen that Blu-ray box set.
Yeah.
And if they just start from scratch, now you're stuck with this original product that is essentially useless because it's not even, it doesn't even have a made-up ending. So it's not even self-contained.
Yeah.
It's literally just nothing, you know? Like you just, it's like a weird, thing from the past that serves no real function anymore. I hate shit like that. It's almost like dead media at that point, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, because like, what are you gonna fucking do with the Blu-ray box set? You know, like, for example, like, I guess you could say that with like Trigun as well. So I guess it's no different because like the original, but that has its own ending. I mean, it's flawed, but okay. So like, I'm trying to think of an example where it ended on a clip. Okay, I have an example. I'll shut up. It's gonna come up later. I do have an example. Yeah.
Well, I mean, so there was another anime that I'm just gonna reach out to real quick here. You ever hear Blue Exorcist?
Oh, yeah. It like just came back or something.
Yeah,
Yes.
so what it was this is weird as shit, is they ended it with the first season. So it actually did come to a conclusion, and then they released the second season, which picks up around like episode 13 of the first season. So half of that season is meaningless, and you kind of have to ignore its existence to follow season 2.
What? Say that again. So it picks up.
It picks up halfway through the first season. Completely writes off the end of the first season.
Is it because they just made shit up?
Exactly.
Oh, that's why. Okay, yeah. So it kind of retcons shit. Basically.
But it's like, in a situation like that, I feel like it would have been better to just rewrite the anime.
I mean, at that point, yeah, because it's very confusing.
Yeah.
Right? But anything else do you want to say about Deadman Wonderland?
No. I think that's all I got.
All right. Back to me. Let's see what I got going here. Okay. Oh, fuck. I picked all confusing ones to like. There's so much to give for plot here. Okay. My next pick for animes that deserve a reboot, Gantz.
I've heard of the name.
Okay, so you actually don't know what this is. So does any of this look familiar to you right here?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay, so you've seen like this imagery, like the people in like the black suits and all
Yeah.
that shit.
Honestly, I think it might actually be in my watch list. I just haven't gotten around to it.
Oh, okay. Do you know, like, do you have any concept of the plot of Gantz or anything?
Not in the slightest, no.
Okay, well, allow me to do my best to explain Gantz. If you thought Soul Eater was complicated, then just strap in, because Gantz is like very nonsensical. Gantz was based on a manga It was a long-running manga. It ran for years. I don't have the exact amount of like volumes or anything, but it had a lot of chapters and volumes, whatever you want to call it. It was a long-running series. It got an anime adaptation in 2004, which is pretty old at this point.
Yeah, just a little bit.
Yeah, 19 years. Yeah, like it's like early 2000s. It's not a newer anime by any means. It got 26 episodes in the original run, which I think when it came over here, they turned them into seasons. Like typically when you would see them physically, it was always like season 1, season 2. So they broke that up into 13 episodes and 13 episodes, but whatever, 26 episodes in the original run. Okay. The basic plot of Gantz follows a young guy named Kei Kurono. It's actually this guy right here. He's basically like the poster child. This is actually a very useful image right here. I'm just going to, that image is what we're going to use. Okay, so it follows Kei Kurono, which is this guy right here on the right, and this guy here, which is like his childhood best friend, Masahiro Kato. Okay, so we got Kei and Kato. Kei and Kei. And they were like childhood friends. Kei is like kind of a shut-in and keeps to himself, and I believe he's in high school, but he had some family incidents where he doesn't live with his family and all. He's not close with his family. There's some issue there, so he lives on his own. I believe he's still in high school, but like near the end of high school, so he's probably like 17 or 18. I'm gonna peg his age at. Same with his friend. They're young guys, and one day, Kei is at a subway station, and an old man, or it's like an old man or a drunk, one of the two, but somebody falls onto the track, and there's a train coming, and bystanders are all standing around going like, what do we do? What do we do? Somebody do something. And Kei's friend Kato, who's more of like, Kei is the main guy. Kei is he's very introverted. He's very pessimistic. He's very like almost nihilistic in that he sees the worst in humanity. He's very jaded. That's a perfect word. He's jaded. He's jaded as fuck. He thinks like, everything's a scam. Why bother helping anybody else? He's all out for himself. He has childhood trauma, and it's made him a bit of an asshole, and he just doesn't, he's kind of written off humanity and society at this point.
That's fair.
Yeah. Yeah. 2023, we're all okay at this point.
For some reason, I relate to this character.
Yeah, I know. Now that I'm saying this, I kind of like this character more and more. But yeah, so that's Kei. His friend Kato is the exact opposite. His friend Kato, he also had some family incident. He takes care of his little younger brother. He's very hardworking. He's a humanitarian. He's very like compassionate, has empathy for his fellow human being. And coincidentally, when this person falls onto the tracks, Kato is there and immediately jumps down to help this person. Kato just happens to catch eyes with Kei, who recognizes him. They actually recognize each other, and looks to him for help. And Kei, who normally would just, again, he wasn't going to do anything, but now his friend is looking, his childhood friend. I don't think they were in high school together, so it's like his friend in like elementary school or whatever. So his childhood friend's looking at him like, help me out here. We got to save this person's life. And Kei's like, fuck. All right, fine. I'll get involved. I don't want to, but sure, you're going to make me look like an asshole, so I guess I have to. So Kei jumps down to help this man, and the train's bearing on them, and they're doing their best to get this person, this invalid, up off the fucking tracks and out of the way, out of harm's way, and they manage to do it. But now they're fucked because the train is going to hit them any second. So what do? There's no time to jump on the platform. They just start sprinting forward, trying to outrun the point at which the train is going to break. And they fail. And they die.
Oh, shit.
The opening of this show is the two main characters dying. Then they wake up in what seems like a small apartment building. It's some sort of like apartment, like, it's like a single living room, a hallway, and like a bathroom. It's literally like nothing. It's like when you think like those micro living units in Tokyo, like in Japan, like, in Japanese culture, they're like compact living spaces where they live in like shoe boxes. That's basically what they wake up in. And it's just a blank room. And they wake up in this room and they're in the same clothes that they died in. They don't know they died yet though. You just see the train bear on them and they wake up in this room. So they're not 100% sure that they died, but something has happened. They wake up in this room and it's like wood floors and there's nothing on the walls. There's no furniture. And there's a bunch of other people in the room with them. All different types, different ages, different levels of society. Everybody's not knowing anybody else here. They don't recognize anybody other than each other. And in the middle of the room is a black orb. And after some time of the people speaking to each other, trying to figure out what the fuck's going on, the black orb comes to life. And text appears on the screen and music starts playing. And the black orb identifies itself as Gantz. That's the name of the orb, okay? I don't know. I don't have any, there's no images here on the screen of the black orb.
Well, right there.
Oh, yeah,
top
this?
right.
Yeah, that kind of shows it. It's not a great image of it. It's more detailed than what they're showing there. But it's like, when I say black orb, it's like a literal physical black orb. Like, it's about the size of like a washing machine. It's like a solid, like black, sphere, essentially, right? I'm saying orb as if it's like a glowing thing. It's not. It's a physical, like, piece of furniture.
It's like a giant black ball.
Giant black ball, exactly. Just the one. And Gantz tells them that everyone in the room has died and their lives now belong to Gantz. And Gantz is going to recruit them and use them for missions. And on their missions, they're going to encounter enemies, which are actually aliens. And their job is to defeat the enemies or kill the aliens. And in order to do this, Gantz equips them with these fancy, skin-tight, futuristic suits. They're like these spandexy black suits that actually give you superhuman strength.
That's pretty cool.
So you can literally like punch through a brick wall, like if you're wearing this suit.
So like, can they die again?
We're going to get to that.
Okay.
So, and then, again, Gantz is very convoluted. Believe it or not, I'm still just scratching the surface. So then what ends up happening is they get recruited. So they get these science fiction suits that give them superhuman strength, and they get sci-fi weapons that are convoluted and they don't even know. Here's the funny thing. Gantz is basically just like, equip yourself, get ready. You're about to be, the first mission's about to begin. Nobody really knows anything. The ball opens up, the sphere opens up, and then there's these suits and there's weapons. But nobody really knows what the fuck is going on. They don't even know they're really dead, right? Like, no one has any concept. And then suddenly, missions start, and they all start being teleported. So they're all being transported, almost like Star Trek style, where it's like, they kind of just like, well, no, it's like a slower version of the transporter on Star Trek. So it like slowly is like tearing them apart digitally and then rebuilding them in a different area. Okay? So that suddenly starts happening. And some people don't even put on the suits. Some people are just like, what is this shit? Like black spandex? I'm not cosplaying. Like literally they say that. So they're like, I'm not fucking doing this. So half of them don't even bother. Half of them don't grab weapons. And they just get teleported to this fucking area. And they still don't really even know what's going on. So they get transported to this other area. They're now being forced to do these missions to kill aliens, okay? And the ball reveals that the object is to get 100 points. okay? And you score points the more enemies you take out in a mission, so the more aliens you kill, and the harder the enemies you kill, you get more points. There's points allocated to certain enemy types.
Okay.
Certain aliens are worth more points. And are you still with me? There's a lot more to
I'm
get into.
fascinated.
Okay, so then if you get 100 points, you can either free yourself from Gantz, in which case you are now free and you are reborn. You are a new person. Like you're you, but you're not dead. So Gantz has now saved you, basically. Okay? How that works, who knows? Never explained. Who cares? But however that works, he now has teleported you. When the moment you died, you now are somehow, you got turned into a digital file that this sci-fi fucking orb now owns, okay? And it can put you back out into the world if you hit 100 points. Or you can choose to revive somebody else. Or, I'm not making this up, you can get a really cool weapon. I swear to God, that's an option. You get a really cool weapon.
Well, I mean, why wouldn't you pick that one?
Right. You can freedom or get a cool weapon. Hang on, because that cool weapon comes back. So hang on before you, because I, like everybody else right now, is thinking, who the fuck would choose option 3? Just wait, it comes back. So Gantz, to start off, you get these spandex suits which give you superhuman strength. The problem with them is they have a limited amount of time before they no longer function. So you can only use them for like, I'm going to say like maybe like 30 to 60 minutes. And then after that, you've now burnt out the suit and they no longer work. So now you're just a vulnerable person again.
Like they can't recharge or anything?
Nope. I mean, they recharge once your mission's restarted. You get a new suit, basically. But
Okay.
yeah, but you can't recharge them out in the field. Let's put it that way. There's no like downtime and then they recover. Okay. You also get these sci-fi weapons, which Gantz does not explain how you use. He doesn't even explain that the suits give you superhuman strength. They have to figure this out. Okay. The guns, they do weird shit. So like one of the guns, you pull the trigger and seemingly nothing happens. But then after like a 5-second delay, wherever you were aiming, a giant gravity force will slam down and like flatten in a like a giant radius will like flatten that area. So
Shit.
you know what can you picture what I'm like describing there?
Yeah.
So like imagine a giant invisible cylinder just slams into the ground. It like creates this gravity field that like just smashes that area wherever you were aiming.
So like,
But it's got a delay on it.
if you pulled the trigger here
Yeah.
and pointed the gun here, it would still hit over there.
It still hits over here where you pulled the trigger.
Okay.
Yeah, so you pull the trigger and then you can start moving the gun around. That's where it's going to hit. Yeah. But then there's all kinds of other weird guns that like do different things. Like one of them like creates an energy field that like contains things. And they all have all kinds of wild weaponry, okay? The problem with the weaponry is they're all a little weird and unwieldy and hard to use. And the suits are not like, they're not perfect, right? Like they burn out and then you're fucking vulnerable. Okay, so at any time, Gantz can kill you. So at any time, so let's say, because this happens, so if you just go, fuck this, I'm not doing the mission, I'm just going to walk away, no, Gantz will just fucking blow you up and destroy you. You just basically deletes you, okay? So, no, you're fucking participating in these missions or I'm just going to blow you up. So some people just try to fuck off and leave the area, and once you get to a certain, like, it's a certain radius, and once you get so far out of that area where Gantz teleported you to, you just like blow up or something. I can't exactly remember what happens, but you die. You die, essentially, right? You also die in the game very easily. So when I say the game, Gantz is teleporting you to just random locations in like Japan. That's where you're getting teleported. Okay?
Okay.
And it's like, it could be a suburb, it could be a district, it could be a densely populated area. And in these areas are aliens almost hiding in plain sight. So one of the places they get teleported is like a Buddhist monk temple. And the aliens are actually these statues. pretending to just be statues, but they're actually alien beings.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so there's like, and the alien variety is like all over the board. There's like ones that look like just little green men, and then there's other ones that look like Greek gods, and there's ones that look like something out of a fucking like a Cthulhu-esque, horrific monstrosity.
So, like, to some extent, this is kind of like a weird take on Men in Black.
Yeah, kind of, in a sense, but it's not really that their goal is to cover anything up. It's not like they're like hiding these aliens. It's more like, because I won't get into like spoilers of like the story and everything, but that's the basic premise. The basic premise is this science fiction sphere, this black ball, this black orb, Gantz, is able to resurrect people after they die and then forces them to participate in missions to seek out and kill bizarre aliens hiding on Earth.
Okay.
Why he's doing that, read the fucking long-winded manga to find out. That's everything I've just told you. That's a basic outline of everything. There's way more to it. Way more to it. There's vampires. Yep, actual vampires.
I mean, they're aliens. Why not?
Yep, exactly. Why the fuck not? There's vampires. There's a huge cast of characters that's constantly changing. There's psychics. There's characters with telekinesis. Yep, sure. Why not? Like the story is like madness, absolute madness. That being said, I actually do like it. I actually read the entire manga. Again, another manga. I read the whole thing. Revelations tonight, folks. You can see what kind of a sick fuck I am.
So heaven is an apartment in Tokyo.
Yeah, in a sense.
And
yeah.
Now you slay aliens.
Pretty much. Yes, that's the basic plot. Okay. So the original anime, it was okay. It's pretty well made. I liked it when I was younger. The thing I liked is so that Gantz is not shonen-y. Gantz is very seinen. It is mature as fuck. It is hyper violent. There's like extremely graphic things in it. This is why I like it, folks, because I'm a sick fuck. And there is a lot of sexual imagery, shall we say. There's nudity in it, and a lot of sexual things happen in it, like characters fuck and all that. So it's for mature readers, absolutely, through and through. It's not for like young boys, okay? And the anime retained a lot of that. That's what I liked about the anime, is the anime was very violent, very graphic. They didn't tone anything down. They didn't censor things. I'm pretty sure they kept the nudity even, which is surprising. When they do anime, they don't usually leave in nudity.
Yeah.
Because it makes it harder to market. But it was tonally, they nailed a lot of it, but it wasn't a great, like, the animation was just okay. The choreography and the fight scenes, like the cinematography, was okay. It wasn't amazing. It wasn't like a showpiece anime, I remember the dubs being kind of whatever. At that time I was watching dubs, so I don't remember how the subs were, but the dubs were kind of lame. The biggest problem though, I thought it was okay. It ends with the most bullshit made up fucking ending of all time. So it follows the manga right up until like the last 5 episodes, and then they just made up a thing, and it's not only is it a made up ending, it's an ambiguous made up ending where you're like, what the fuck is any of that? So literally they make up characters that aren't in the manga, and they just do whatever the fuck they want. It's just awful. It's a terrible ending. I'm not going to spoil what it is, but it's fucking stupid. So that always pissed me off because I got into the manga and I really liked it, and it was like they adapted like maybe like fucking 15%, maybe 10% of like the overall manga. There was tons of shit to adapt they never touched. Okay?
Oh, there was no reason to end it.
No, they shouldn't have. And the problem is Gantz, it has so much shit to adapt. You can't just make up an ending that quick. Like you have to fucking unravel the mystery more, Gantz, weirdly, almost got rebooted. Have you heard of Gantz Zero?
I have.
Did you watch Gantz Zero?
No, I haven't.
Okay. So Gantz came back in 2016 as Gantz Zero, which I believe was produced by Netflix. It is a CGI movie sequel of sorts to the original anime. But it's not really a sequel to the anime. It's kind of just its own thing. So I wouldn't even really call it a sequel, but I'm using that word, but it's not really. The reason it kind of is what it adapts. So the original, I don't know all the arcs in Gantz, but like the original, let's just say it adapted like the first 3 arcs. Like the anime. The original anime is like, all right, we're going to adapt the first 3 arcs from the manga. Gantz 0, not only did it not readapt the first 3, it skipped to like arc 6 and adapted that.
Wow.
So it actually skipped. It's a bizarre choice. So at one point, this is spoiling some shit, but whatever. At one point, Kurono actually dies again. Because you asked, can you die again? Sorry, I didn't answer that. Yes, you're a vulnerable human. For all intents and purposes, you are now a human again. You're flesh and blood again. You can die all over again. You die again, you die for good. Unless somebody gets 100 points and resurrects you. Remember, they can get that.
That's the second prize?
That's the second option.
Yeah.
It's whatever you want. You get 100 points, it's whatever you want. You can get that cool weapon, you can get your freedom, or you can resurrect somebody. So at this point that they adapt in Gantz 0, the main guy, Kurono, is dead. And the story starts following Kato, his friend. And Kato becomes the main character for like 2 arcs. And he's actually trying to get to 100 points to resurrect Kei.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a really cool it's a really cool arc in the manga, but it was just a bizarre choice to adapt that specific thing. Like, you know, it's 2016. Gantz hadn't been in the media for 12 years, and you come back. Like, it's a miracle Gantz 0 gets made, honestly. So it comes back, but they don't even readapt. They don't remake the original, like, couple arcs. They just adapt, like, the 6th arc or the 8th arc, wherever it is. But it's like, I don't know. It's like 1/3 into like the overall plot, maybe even a little bit further, maybe even like halfway through the overall like story. It's just a bizarre point to adapt, and it's just a movie. So it's even more streamlined. It's not a season, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like one movie. That being said, I highly recommend watching Gantz 0 because it is one of the best CG animated films I have seen. Period. It's that good. It is gorgeous animation. It is insane action. It's hyper violent as fuck. It is just a fun, good time. That being said, if you have no idea what the fuck Gantz is, the movie doesn't really help because it's just throws you in. Again, it's weird that it even exists. So I count it. I didn't count it because to me it's not a true reboot. I don't know why they did that, but it's not a true reboot. It's close, though. It's close.
Hey, it's a time skip.
Yeah, it's something. But to me, it didn't disqualify it from going on my list. So I would love Gantz to come back. Love is a strong word. I would like Gantz to come back because, honestly, to be clear, people, everything on my list here, with the exception of 2 picks, is not actually in my collection. Only 2 of my picks are actually in my collection. So those I would actually like to see more out of. Gantz is like Soul Eater is not in my collection. I hate that ending. I have problems with Soul Eater. Whatever. Gantz, I've read the whole manga. The story gets really fucking stupid. Like really stupid. So I would like to see Gantz come back, but I want someone to rework the story to actually fix it. Because it becomes way too convoluted, and the ending they came up with was just a little too nonsensical for me. So I think they should bring it back, flesh it out way more, maybe even go with the CG look. Honestly, the CG look from Gantz 0 was incredible. Maybe use that, you know?
Yeah.
I'm not opposed to using CG. Bring it back, and then retwerk the plot of Gantz to fix Gantz. And then, yeah, so there you go. That's my pick. Gantz, I think, could use a reboot. I think it would be a really good pick.
Well, you know how you could get that reboot. You just got to get 100 points.
Just got to get 100 points. Oh, do you want to know why you would pick the pretty good weapon? Like the cool weapon?
I would assume that you'd do it to, like, get enough points to resurrect a friend or something.
Yeah, because basically they end up realizing that the weapons they start off with are kind of junk. And if you use the cool weapon, one of the cool weapons is literally like a mech suit.
Oh wow!
And another cool weapon is like you get this katana that like extends and retracts, It's like this, basically a super sci-fi katana. And then another weapon you get is a bike. Looks like a sci-fi bike. So it's like, no, they're pretty cool weapons. All jokes aside, they are pretty cool.
I don't know. That katana sounds pretty dope.
Yeah, so you'd pick the cool weapon. Like, so if you're just like, okay, I have to get points, you pick the cool weapon, so then you have such a high odds now of surviving and killing these aliens that it makes it easier to get to 100 points. That's why you do it. Yeah. So there you go. That's my pick. That's my second pick. What do you got next there, John?
All right, so up next I have Noragami. So this one's from 2015 with 29 episodes, and 4 of them are OADs.
OADs.
Yeah, it stands for Original Animation DVD, which is weird because
I've only ever heard OVA, like OVA.
Same thing.
It's the same. I think I was like OAD. What is it called?
Noragami. So, basic plot: a minor god, Yato, is seeking to gain widespread worship, and he teams up with a human girl that he saved so he can gain fame, recognition, and at least one shrine dedicated to him.
What in the fuck is this? Explain this plot more, please.
So,
what is going on?
Essentially what he is you can kind of think of him like Death. He's essentially a god of war. But he doesn't want to be a god of war. He doesn't want to be remembered for that. He wants people to worship him, but who wants to worship someone that, breeds chaos? So he, in a sense, he's a god that's rebranding.
What is the tone of this? Is this like a drama slice of life? It looks like slice of life, like based on what I'm looking at.
Kind of slice of life, yeah.
Okay.
So,
and it takes place in like modern era?
Yeah. So at times it's kind of comical, honestly. It's like we meet a god of mischief. It's like a god of wealth.
Is this kind of like the devil is a part-timer, like that kind of tone?
Yeah, kind
like
of.
Very tongue-in-cheek?
Yeah.
Okay.
But essentially, like, we start out, he meets this girl. You can actually see her there. And he saves her. I can't remember specifically what it was, but her spirit can leave her body after their encounter, which for some reason turns her into like a cat spirit or something. I don't know. It gives her a tail.
Okay, so what's the central conflict in this? He's just like trying
to get money to build the shrine.
Okay. How many episodes was this?
29.
Sounds like a lot just for that conflict.
Well, it was 2 seasons.
Okay, yep.
Now, the thing is, like, it ended. I don't remember specifically how, but like it was an ending. It doesn't have to come back, but there was more to be told. The manga did continue, and it wasn't canceled. Wasn't like anything like that. It just
stopped.
Never got announced.
It just stopped, basically.
Yeah.
So it doesn't have a made-up ending, which is the worst. Can we collectively agree when they just make up an ending, that's the worst?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it didn't have a made-up ending. It just stopped, basically, adapting shit.
Basically, yeah.
Yeah, okay. So it just ran out of, like, it didn't run out of anything. It just, they didn't choose to adapt more, basically.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
But, yeah, the conflict, the fighting, combat and whatnot is pretty cool. Like, we see him fight other gods that don't like him because of his former persona, I guess. So,
like, don't use that fucking word around me. To be clear, I do not. To be clear, I do not like the Persona video game series. So
you're missing out.
Am I?
Hey, you stopped at 4.
Yeah. No. I only played 4.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right?
That was
you
more.
Gotta play 5.
That was as much as I. God, that was enough. That was enough. Hey, Persona, man. 20 hours in, it gets really good.
Yeah, that's like the end of the tutorial.
Yeah, exactly. That's Persona in a nutshell. Yeah, no, I fuck that series. Oh, I hate Persona.
Yeah, so he ends up fighting other gods because they don't like his past self. So, like, I guess, like, in the past, he had wronged other gods by killing their... Sorry, I'm just drawing a bit of a blank here.
I mean, I can make up the plot for you, but it's not going to be exactly what it is. But I'm more than happy to make up a plot based on what I'm looking at.
But no, it's similar to Soul Eater. So they do have like human weapons or like spirit weapons. Like they can pass souls onto the afterlife, like Bleach. They fight evil spirits. And they can actually encounter like civilian like ghosts and convert them into weapons. And I'm a little foggy on it, so don't quote me on it, but I believe Noragami comes in because a spirit that has been claimed by a god, but is just... Sorry, it was a spirit claimed by a god, but not given a name. So they're kind of like shunned spirits.
Say that again. What?
So, sorry.
Did you catch that? Did you follow that, folks? Because I did. I'm drawing.
No, I mixed it up a little bit. So
he's trying to fuck with us here. Yeah. He's just making up shit as he's going.
Sorry, it was a spirit that is claimed by a god.
A spirit that's claimed by a god. So like the main guy.
Like,
what's the main guy? Is the main guy's
weapon.
name Noragami?
No, his name is Yato.
Okay, so
But a Noragami is like so the blonde guy with him in half of these pictures here.
Yep.
He's actually a weapon. Like, he turns into a katana.
Okay.
Because he picks up this spirit, and instead of passing him on into the afterlife, he gives him a name and makes him a katana. So he can kind of switch back and forth between the form of the sword and the boy.
Oh, so that's what a Noragami is?
Yes. Now...
It's a spirit that, instead of passing over, becomes a weapon?
Yes, but no. So a Noragami is a spirit like that is claimed by multiple gods.
Okay.
So it has multiple names. It becomes a Noragami. And then it can never have one true owner.
See, I thought Gantz was going to be the most confusing thing we were going to talk about tonight, and I don't know what the fuck's going on with what the anime you're talking about now.
Well, stay tuned.
Okay.
No, but so believe it or not, Noragami doesn't have a whole lot to do with the story.
Okay.
Like, we do meet one of them, who he has actually given a name himself, but he won't take her in, and neither will anyone else. So she's just.
When did this come out? When did this come out? Why have I never heard it? I've
so
never even heard this name.
It ended in 2015, I believe. It started.
This is like newer. This isn't even that old. Then.
Yeah,
it's like 8 years old, basically.
Yeah.
Wow, I've never even heard of this name.
But I mean, they never canceled it. Maybe they'll do a Devil as a Part-Timer and just announce it. You know?
Yeah, that eventually came back, didn't it?
Yeah, it only took like 7 years.
Yeah. Well,
I mean, it's about time.
The low priority. You got to get Bleach back, right?
But yeah, no, that's basically all there really is to the plot. He's just doing odd jobs. Or sorry.
Yeah, you were thinking of Devil as a Part-Timer.
No.
He's working at a McDonald's that's not actually McDonald's.
He's not working at a McDonald's, but he's essentially taking jobs on like Craigslist, and he'll like clean your house for a couple of yen.
Okay.
So he can save up for his temple, or his shrine, rather.
Okay. And again, the main guy's not human.
No.
He's a god.
Literal god. Yes.
And he's the god of...
So I believe it was like God of War.
Okay.
But yeah, he's like rebranding or whatever. He doesn't want to be associated with like war anymore.
Okay.
Because I mean, times have changed, you know?
Yep.
Combat isn't huge.
So he is a god who has manifested into physical form and looks like a young man.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
but he also has abilities.
Kind of, yeah. He just fights with a sword.
Okay.
But
there's other gods, and they all have human forms too?
Yeah.
And they have abilities?
Yes. Okay. And they all reside in shrines.
What is this whole shrine thing that gives you become more powerful because people can worship you at the shrine? Is that the idea?
Well, you get more money, and essentially the shrines are kind of like homes.
Okay.
So like all these other gods, they live in their shrines.
Oh, so he is like
they're essentially like houses.
Yeah, so he's like a wandering Ronin in a sense of like he has no base.
Yeah, essentially.
Yeah.
Because I mean, he hasn't served a purpose since like samurai.
Okay. I'm getting this now more. Okay, so what do you want it to be rebooted as?
Honestly, I just want it to come back for season 3.
I don't.
Well, I mean, I know you don't.
I don't now. I didn't know what it was 10 minutes ago. Now that I do, I can confirm that I don't want it to come back. I think the studios that made the decision to just stop it cold, they were right, and I'm going to commend that studio. They made the right call. Yeah.
Like, everybody will forget about it if we stop talking about it, except for some loser on a podcast.
Right, yeah, some jackass on a podcast. Yeah, he's going to remember this.
It's
this,
okay.
this
Nobody will
obscure.
agree with him anyway.
Yeah. Anything else to say about
No, that's it.
Noragami? I mean, what do you want it to come back? So was the original animation good? Was it bad?
It was
Like,
good enough.
Is there anything to improve?
It didn't really stand out, but I mean, like, of course, it could be improved, but I don't really see it as flawed. So,
and you said there was also 3 movies as well?
They weren't really movies; they were just kind of like special episodes that they sort of labeled as movies.
Okay, it's like those. It's like when they're like 40 minutes as opposed to like 23. Or
I
some
think
shit.
they're just 23 minutes.
Oh, okay.
So like the
it's
fact
like
that they
shit.
called them like OADs or OVAs, whatever.
The Japanese are kind of strange with shit like that, where it's like, oh, it was a TV special, but it's not really in the canonical episode count, right?
But it's like each season had 2 of them.
Okay.
For
And
whatever reason.
did you watch them?
I watched a couple of them, yeah.
Do they influence the main plot, or are they just
I'm
funny
pretty sure it's
side
just
stories?
filler.
It's just
Yeah.
like filler, fun side story shit?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nothing really, I don't want to say it's not worth watching, but I mean, you don't really,
I know,
you don't need
it's
it.
non-essential. It's non-essential.
Yeah.
Is this based on a manga?
I believe so, yes.
Did you read the manga?
I have not.
Oh, okay.
So,
I was
like,
curious, like, if you just ran ahead
honestly,
to,
for,
to
like,
get more of the story.
I haven't read any of these manga.
I've read all of my mangas. I just realized. I'm looking at... No, I swear to God, with the exception of one, I just looked at my list. Every single one of these, not only have I read the manga, I have finished the manga.
Well, look at you.
Which is insane. Yeah. I think that's why I was able to weigh so much. Like, I think that's why I was able to have an informed opinion on these, because I know what they didn't adapt. You know, it made it very easy to be like, no, I read all the other shit. There's a ton of fucking shit they didn't read, you know? So, like Trigun, I read that manga. I haven't finished, I didn't finish Trigun, but I've read a lot of that manga, and there's so much shit they didn't adapt, but maybe they will in the new one. I don't know. Anything else to say about Noragami,
No.
Stray God?
No, that's all I've got.
All right. Next on my list, I don't remember if so we did a previous episode where we both tried to come up with animes that would be good as live action adaptations that would lend themselves well to being adapted into a live action feature.
I don't think I remember that episode.
Yes, you weren't there. It was our best episode yet. There's no.
I wonder why.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just coincidence. Yeah, I wouldn't read too much into it. So I don't remember if I used this then or not. Cyber City Oeda 808.
I don't think that was.
I don't think I did. I think I picked AD Police Files instead.
Yeah.
So have you ever heard or seen this? This right here? Does any of this look familiar? Does the name?
No, not at all.
Yeah, it rolls right off the tongue. I'm going to say that once again. Cyber City Oeda 808. Okay, so Cyber City, you have no idea what this is.
Not in the slightest.
Okay, so I'm a huge fan of old school anime. I love gorgeous hand-drawn animes, specifically from like what I call like the golden era, which is like mid 80s into like early 2000s. To me is like the golden era. That's like where they just nailed that gorgeous hand-drawn look where everything was so vibrant and colorful and the animation was so fucking buttery smooth and it's just beautiful. Pops right off the screen. Cyber City, and I also like my hyper-violent anime, which is Cyber City 808, very like a mouthful to say. It's from 1990. It's basically an 80s anime. It's from that hyper-violent era where they were making all these just like over-the-top, gory, you know. Have you ever seen any of that kind of shit?
A little bit, yeah.
Okay. Do you like any of that kind of stuff or no?
I'm fine with it.
Yeah, I like the hyper-violence because it's like, it's shit that you just couldn't really pull off in movies, except for some of the 80s horror movies. Some of that shit pulls it off, which, I like. There's examples. Interestingly, I don't believe this is based on anything. I think it's just an original thing. I could be wrong here. I'm sorry, I didn't do my full research on this one. But I know it strictly as an anime. It is only 3 OVAs. And each OVA is like 45 minutes long. It might be like an hour, but they're short. It's not a television series. And it's not a single movie. It's literally just 3 OVAs. The basic plot, this is actually a little more simple. It's set in the future. It's what you would call a sci-fi dystopian world. You know, it's similar to like your Blade Runners, your cyberpunks, things of that vein, where technology now is in every facet of every part of human existence. Everything is tech-based. We've built these skyscrapers into the fucking stratosphere. We've got flying cars, and there's robots and AI and all this shit. It is the year 2808, hence Oeda 808, which I just realized that now. I didn't know that before. At least I think that it's got to be the reason, right?
Yeah.
There's no way it's like 808 is in the title of our show, and it happens to take place in 2808. No, that can't be coincidence. So the year 2808 in the far off fucking future, that's like, how many years is that from now? Like, we're 2023, so it's 700 and something years in the future.
Yeah, like basically 780 roughly.
I got to give them credit because they were just like, fuck it. Like every sci-fi thing only goes like 30 years in the future, and then like Back to the Future did 2015, then we caught up, and it's like, where's all the flying cars and all that shit? That didn't happen. So they're like, nope, we're going to go so fucking far in advance that this shit has to happen. If it doesn't, well then you suck, because we gave you enough time to make flying cars and robots happen. So it's way off into the future, 2808, and the government has decided to bring back the feudal Japan art or practice of homen, which is the practice of taking hardened criminals and making them work for the state to catch criminals. So it's basically like, this apparently was an actual practice they did in like feudal Japan, is they would take criminals and then employ them by the state to reduce their sentence and or get a pardon. They would work for the government. So they would do like, you know, I don't know what they would do, security or hit jobs, who the fuck knows. But in this show, they are part of so we have these our main characters are criminals. They're in some crazy sci-fi space prison of the future that's literally like orbiting the Earth. They're literally in space, and they get offered each one of the 3 main characters. There's 3 characters in the show. There's the main guy. I don't know any of their names. I didn't write them down. It doesn't matter. There's like the main guy is like your typical like he's like a average build guy, a little muscular, but he's like the slick, more charming, like almost like a con man, charming criminal type guy. You know, he can handle himself in a fight. He's pretty physically adept, you know, but he's like more your standard guy. If this was a beat 'em up that we were talking about, he would be the well-balanced character. Does that make sense?
Makes perfect sense.
He's not the tank. Well, no, funny enough, the 3 main characters are exactly like beat 'em up characters. So the main guy is like the base character. He is the Axel, I think it's Axel Blaze from like Streets of Rage, you know, like that, the blonde guy.
Yeah.
He's just the base stat, okay? And then there's the tank character, and he's like the hacker tech guy. And you can see the 3 main characters right here. I'll just bring up this image here. Yeah, there's the 3 main characters right there. So that's the main guy right there. He's like your base, balanced. He's like all the balanced stats. Here's your tank character. He's like the big muscle guy. But funny enough, he's the tech guy out of them. So he doesn't actually do a ton physically per se.
I mean, that's kind of funny because he sort of looks like Android 16.
Yeah, he looks like Android 16. That's a good comparison, actually. Yeah, he's just like a big cyborg-looking motherfucker. Yeah, he's yeah. And then we've got this guy, which is like, this would be the fast female character if this were a beat 'em up, and it's like, this guy is like a effeminate, pretty boy guy that's like really fast and acrobatic, and he does like shit with like wires or something. Like if I remember correctly, he like uses wires to cut people up or
Yeah, it
something
looks like he's
that.
got one on his
Yeah,
hand.
I think they all kind of have their own little skill set. So all of these guys are in this space prison, and they get offered a potential pardon. So here's how it works. Each one of them has like a life sentence of like 300 years or some nonsense, like way longer than a human would live, okay? They can either stay in the prison and live out the rest of their sentence and die there, or they can become part of this program, become effectively police officers in a special unit that works for the government in this like section, this organization, this part of the government, and they can work for the government to catch other criminals and reduce their sentence, and potentially receive a pardon. So each one of them has like 300 or 400 or 500 years on their sentence. As they complete jobs and like catch criminals, it takes off time from their sentence. If they fuck up, however, they can actually get time added to their sentence. But the biggest benefit is they don't have to live in the prison. They get to live and exist out in the real world, albeit under the supervision and like monitoring of the government.
Of course.
But they still get like their own place, and like they have some semblance of freedom, but they're at the beck and call of the government at any point. They can be called into action to do whatever. So, and there's only 3 episodes. Each episode focuses on a different character. The first episodes, 3 OVAs. Sorry, OVAs. For anyone that doesn't know, OVA stands for original video animation, which basically just means like it's a direct to video production. It wasn't a television. It's meant to be like a home video type release. That's the way I always interpreted it. Do you agree with me?
Yeah, that sounds fair.
I always interpreted it's like that. It's the production level of OVAs was always a little bit higher of what you would see on television.
Yeah.
They put a little bit more money into it because it was meant to be a video release that you would buy.
Yeah.
Like a VHS tape.
A little extra love.
Yeah, exactly. A little bit more love. So each OVA focuses on on one of the main characters. It is criminally short. I love this fucking anime. This is in my collection. This is on my shelf. I highly, highly recommend this show. It's fucking awesome. If you want golden era anime that's got that's just pure oozes, gorgeous hand-drawn animation, and it just oozes, like the soundtrack's like all synth, and it oozes that 80s cyberpunk tech noir aesthetic, and it's just pure atmosphere and world building. Watch this fucking show. The action's great. It's hyper violent. It's a fun fucking show. It's awesome. There's nothing to fix. I just want more of it. So remember I said I was stretching? I was stretching because like at the end of the day, if this doesn't come back, I won't be heartbroken because it has 3 OVAs. They're all great. It's a fun watch. I'm not really missing anything. Nothing's ruined if it doesn't come back. I just want more of it.
Yeah. Well, that's exactly what you're missing.
So the problem is though, I'm worried because I'm like, if you motherfuckers brought this back, it would look like shit. I know they wouldn't make it look good, but there's hope because Cyberpunk Edge Runners, have you watched that yet?
I haven't.
Have you seen any imagery of it?
A little bit.
It's fucking gorgeous. It is one of the nicest CG style animes I've ever seen, if not the best right now, like the gold standard. It's just absolutely gorgeous. They did such a good job. It's very colorful. It's very vibrant. The animation's phenomenal. Whoever made that, if you're going to bring back Cyber City Oeda 808, do this. I want them to be hired. That team, that Cyberpunk Edge Runners team, do this and adapt it and make it look good because they could pull it off if they brought it back.
Yeah.
I just want more episodes because there's so much more you can mine out of it. That's the thing. Is like you feel cheated. You feel shortchanged because like that's such a fun premise of like hardened criminals. So like we're watching a show about the bad guys doing good deeds to try to like redeem themselves and earn their freedom. But they're still bad guys, and like they still like, even though they're effectively cops, they don't really act like cops. And they do shit that like would not be by the book, shall we say? And it's a fun fucking show. And there's so much you can do with that premise. So I would have loved if they I would love to see more of it. I just want more of what was there, you know. Give me more episodes, give me more missions, more enemies, more like maybe delve into they don't really give a ton of their backstory. We get little snippets, but it's like I would love to see them flesh out the world more, flesh out the characters. Yeah.
Do they like reveal why they're serving life sentences? Or?
It's all vague from what I remember.
Okay.
It's they don't really give exact reasons. Yeah. Yeah. And each one of them they give like a little bit of their backstory, but not much. Yeah. Even like the organization itself that's like running all this, it's very mysterious. There's not much you can do with 3 episodes.
Yeah.
Like 3 OVAs is fuck and all.
So, I mean, there's room for growth.
Yes. Yeah. Flesh it out. Flesh this out. Take this idea and flesh it out. Or you know what? It doesn't even have to be a sequel. Like I think it should be just a straight reboot. Just do its own thing. You don't even have to fucking call it this. Call it Cyber City. Call it 808. But just bring more of this, take this concept and run with it.
Yeah.
There you go. That's my reboot. That's my next reboot. Yeah.
Well, I mean, based on what you've said about it, it almost feels like a couple anime have taken a bit of inspiration from it. Like, Psychopaths, for example.
Yeah,
Because, I mean, they're essentially criminals working as police, right?
Yeah, and it's in the future, and it's like same shit. It's like tech noir, it's cyberpunk, it's that whole like, society, futuristic cities, Neo Tokyo, whatever the fuck you want to call it. It's very similar aesthetic. A lot of animes use this aesthetic. Yeah,
and then you've got like, kind of, but like Hell's Paradise, because I mean it's essentially convicts working for the
that
Shogun,
would be
right?
an example of like the Homen, whatever it's called, that the practice of Homen.
Yeah.
The only reason I know that is because when I looked up the plot for this, it was like they enact the practice of Homen, which was a feudal Japan. I was like, this was a thing? The Japanese government did this in feudal Japan? Fucking A. I mean, that's how I know that term. Yeah. It's not like a common term, in case you're wondering how the fuck where I got that from. What do you got next there, John?
Well,
I only got 2 left now.
Real quick, let me
through.
write down the name of this one here.
Cyber City Oeda 808. Just rolls right off the tongue, buddy.
Sure does.
I don't know what the Oedo is. People in the comments can yell at me and be like, I'm an idiot.
If only there were a way to know. Sorry, I had to.
Too funny, folks. Too funny, this fucking guy.
I am hilarious, and you will quote everything I say.
He's on a roll, folks.
All right, so next I have Recovery of an MMO Junkie.
Oh, God. Here we go. And here comes the John picks. Here we go. I'm going to refill my drink while you're describing this.
All right, so this one last aired December 8th, 2017. That was our last episode. They did not cancel it. They just never did another season. And there was no ending. But anyway.
We're all heartbroken.
The plot. Mariko Morioka is a 30-year-old single NEET woman. After dropping out from reality, she's taken off in search of a fulfilling life and ended up in a net game where she begins her new life as a refreshing and handsome character named Hayashi.
Oh, it's like a gender bender thing?
Yeah.
Okay.
Now it turns into a love story. And so her character is male, and she meets a female character, and they sort of care for each other. Now, in reality, she's like going to convenience stores and whatnot to stock up on snacks for her gaming sessions, and she meets this guy. Now, neither of them realize it, but they are the people that have been playing this game together. He's the girl, she's the boy.
Oh, that's interesting. Okay. Go on.
So they keep having these like chance encounters in real life. And they aren't really like getting to know each other, but it's that kind of thing like, oh, maybe I should talk to that person. But they never quite do. Like they interact a little bit here and there. They definitely feel like there could be a connection. But ultimately they just go home, play their game, whatever. And in the game, very similar, they feel that connection. They're growing closer and closer spending lots of time together discussing life and, you know, what's wrong with their lives and how they wish it could be. Like,
Wait, okay, so did they actually start dating in real life?
that's the thing, is it ends. We don't actually see any of that.
I
Yeah.
hate to say it, you kind of intrigued me.
It's a good
As soon
show.
as what's the name of the show?
Recovery of an MMO Junkie.
See, as soon as you said that, I went, fuck you. Because
Yeah.
I just thought it's just that's a John pick. It's like it's some sort of fucking isekai fucking thing where that's immediately what I thought. But then you started getting into it, and I'm like, well, this just sounds like a romantic like slice of life show,
Yeah,
and that's what it is basically, right?
literally, yeah.
Like, what's the tone of the show? Is it very lighthearted, or
Oh,
is it?
absolutely. Very lighthearted. But see, the thing is, I put this on my list, and I went, that title, he's not going to like it. But
Nope.
this is definitely his style.
Yeah, it is. Because as soon as you started talking more about it, I'm like, go on.
Hey, 12 episodes, get into it, and maybe we can convince them to write more.
Yeah, get into it and then be fucking angry that the story just ends. I mean, especially with like something like that where it's like a romance, a budding romance, to just cut it off. It just literally, so the show is ruined. They ruined the show because it just never continues, right?
And it's disappointing.
Yeah, that's so fucking lame.
But there's really not much more to say about it because that's all we got.
Is it based on anything? Is there a manga that we
believe
can?
there is a manga.
Oh, okay, so maybe
we could continue that.
we just got to read that manga, buddy, to find out what happens. So it's like two characters in reality are on this popular online MMO, like an online video game.
Yes.
They meet each other through the video game. They start playing together in the video, and they start like becoming friends in the video game.
Yes.
And they're gender swapping. So the girl is playing as a guy, the guy is playing as a girl character.
Yes.
And then they coincidentally end up meeting each other in real life, and they start becoming friends in real life as well.
Yeah.
Interesting. So they don't know the other one is the other person online.
They do not.
Interesting.
Which I guess would lead to like the recovery because, you know, meeting friends in real life kind of
Pulls
gets
you
you
out of
outside.
That. Yeah, gets you outside and starts pulling you from
Just
the
touch
digital
grass.
world. Yeah. See, there's a lot. See, you could do a lot with that. Like, you can do a lot with that in that it's like, you can get in, you can explore the themes of, can you form a connection, like a meaningful connection with someone in a digital space where you're not actually physical with them, and how does that connection compare to the real physical tangible thing?
Yeah.
My answer is there's limits to what you can, the bonds that you can form in a digital world. I think you can get very close to people online and in, you know, like games and whatever, however, chat groups or whatever. I think you can get close to people, but I don't think you can ever form the real strong human connection you do with like this shit right here, the face-to-face, the hanging out, the, you know, the human touch. If we're talking like romantic relationships,
Yeah.
like there's some things that can never be simulated. It's just never going to be, you know, it's always going to fall short of that level of connection, you know?
Well, I mean, like their characters alone, right? It's easy enough to fake what you are online.
Right. But I just think there's room for like it's not a doomed plot, you know? It's not people coming back to life in a room and then a black orb makes them fight aliens. You know, it's not that.
But
you
it
know?
could be.
Right, yeah. Do you think it goes supernatural?
Well, I mean, maybe
It turns into
that
fucking
would be enough to bring it back for another season.
It turns into Sword Art Online and it gets trapped. And how crazy would that be if that ended up being a side story in Sword Art Online, and the world they're playing in actually ends up being the world of Sword Art Online?
I mean, that would be pretty
And they
cool.
were one of the... Dude, would that blow your fucking mind if all of a sudden it gets revealed that the game they were playing the entire time was like whatever the world was? What was it? It's like Iron Card or something? Iron Card? Oh, there's trivia.
Oh, I don't remember.
But the game they're playing in Sword Art Online, the first game they play in, like the first arc, wouldn't that blow your mind if it's like it turns out they were in that and like Kirito and Asuna just like show up in the background and shit?
Yeah.
That would be mind-blowing.
And maybe that's why there was no second season. Maybe you just have to watch SAO and pay attention to the background, and we'll find out what happened to them.
There was no second season because you remember in SAO, if you die in reality.
Yeah.
So they died. So they didn't make it. They were one of like because it's like 1,000 people or 10,000 people or 100.
Yeah.
How many fucking people was in Sword? It doesn't matter.
A lot.
It was a lot. Yeah, it was more, but a lot of people died though too, right?
Yeah.
They didn't make it, Johnny. They didn't make it.
Too bad.
That would be fucking cool though. That'd be fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. It would be great too if they didn't even like get permission to use those characters or anything. So like they just straight up just did it without even asking, but it's not, they don't outwardly say Kirito and Asuna, but you see their character-esque models in the background. That's the way you fucking do it. Yeah, that'd be great. So what do you want? You just wanted to come back and get like,
Yeah, I just want another
basically
season.
finish the story.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So do I. I don't even know, like, I want more to come out of that. I want it for you. Yeah, I want it for you. Okay, next on my list, Claymore.
I've heard of this one too.
Claymore. Oh, you've never seen this one either. It still surprises me, like this anime right here. Have you ever seen this?
No, I haven't.
Do you know anything about this?
Not at all.
It shocks me that our lists are always so fucking different that like I genuinely very rarely see anything on your list and you almost never see anything on my list. Like it's crazy that we get like, because this wasn't even a nothing. Like this isn't even a Justin pick. Claymore was pretty popular. Like you've heard of it before.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was fairly popular when it came out.
Well, it seems like they have a lot of anime named after like swords.
What else you got?
Bastard.
What sword is called a bastard?
A bastard sword?
Is that actually a real thing?
That's an actual thing. Yeah.
You're making that up.
No, Google it.
No.
It's a real thing.
A bastard sword?
Yeah,
What the
man.
fuck is a bastard sword? Okay, hold on.
Oh, well, you're gonna find out. It's a real thing.
Do you know the actual definition here of a bastard sword?
I do not.
A bastard sword or hand and a halfer are swords which fall between the long sword or broadsword and the two-handed great sword. Fuck you for knowing that.
Dude, I play video games.
I don't remember ever seeing that. And yeah, you're right. There is an anime called Bastard. What other fucking animes? Or is that the only one you can
Claymore.
think of? That's yeah, okay. So you thought of one other than the one I just gave you.
You're right.
Okay, so
You're on to me.
Claymore. It is a dark medieval fantasy anime. It is the original anime came out in 2007. It had 26 episodes. Remember I said we talked at the beginning of this video, the beginning of this discussion, that there was a period where they just didn't greenlight another season. They wouldn't wait. They'd just go, nope, you got to wrap up the series we're going to give you 26 episodes. That's what you're getting greenlit. That's all you're ever getting. And this is a perfect example of that, where that's exactly what they did. They got 26 episodes and they wrapped up the story, even though they really couldn't at that point. And it's not even a satisfying conclusion because it ends on kind of a cliffhanger, but it wraps some plot threads up, but it leaves it open-ended,
Yeah.
but in the wrong way. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So it's like none of that shit was supposed to happen. You shouldn't. It's just dumb. It's like Trigun. It's just a bad ending. It's not a satisfying ending. From Claymore. So the story of Claymore. It's set in it's dark fantasy. It's set in a medieval-esque world. Okay, and in this world there are demons running around. The demons feed on humans, and they are called yomas. Yomas are what they're referred to as in the world of Claymore. And the yomas or demons mostly they all have superhuman strength. So it's like for an average human, it's like nigh impossible for you to kill one of them. They're very difficult to kill. And some of them have supernatural abilities as well. So like, I don't know, some of them can like shoot out their arms and turn them into tentacles, and some of them can shoot out spikes or whatever, but some of them have abilities on top of superhuman strength. On top of superhuman skills, some of them have extra abilities, okay? To combat the Yomas, there is an organization, which I don't remember what they're called. Let's just call them the organization. They have created a super force of elite soldiers known as Claymores. And Claymores are half human, half Yoma beings. So they're neither a demon nor a human. They're a hybrid. And they're specifically all women. which is also interesting. So you can see on the screen here all these chicks in like medieval armor and they got swords. Those are all claymores. So the claymores are also referred to as silver-eyed witches because they all have silver eyes. For whatever reason, it's just one of the consequences of being hybrids. They just have these unnatural eyes that only like claymores possess. It's one of the ways you can tell a claymore from a regular person. Is you could look at their eyes and you're like, ooh. And all the claymores are like, they're very cold, matter of fact, all business. They're also like, they're all like the size of like, you know, like the Amazonians from like the Wonder Woman island. Picture that. That's the claymores. They're all like these giant warrior-esque women that could fuck you up. And because they're hybrids, they possess the abilities of Yomas. So they all have like some special ability. Some of them can like move super fast. Some of them can control your ability, like can control your movement. Like they can alter your muscles. And some of them can, I don't know, turn their hands into drills and all kinds of crazy shit. They're mostly physical based, but the claymores have special abilities and they are at a high, they have superhuman strength. So imagine like basically Wonder Woman, but she also had some other gimmick superpower. And they are our main line of defense against the Yoma. The reason they're all, in case you're wondering, like, why are they all women? So they did used to make male claymores. The problem is, as a half-breed, the more you use your abilities and pull from your demon side, the more it corrupts you and it pushes you towards what they call awakening. And when you awaken, you go like full Yoma, basically. You're full demon.
Fascinating.
So then they'd have to just kill you, right?
Yeah.
And they found that males, for whatever reason, were more susceptible to this than the females. The females have a much lower % chance of awakening than the males did. So they just discontinued making men into these claymores. So they're like, we're just going to use women. And women look cooler in these cool armor suits. So there's that too. The aesthetic of Claymore is really cool. They have some really cool aesthetics. I like it. The original anime is okay. I've heard a lot of people jerk off about it and say it's really fucking cool. Teenage Justin loved this anime because this came out in 2007. I was 17 at the time. I loved it. It was like, got these hot chicks with swords in these cool outfits and they all have abilities and it's hyper violent and they're fucking up and killing demons. Awesome. It's very action-y, you know. It's dark fantasy. It's fun. I rewatched it a couple years ago, maybe like 10, 12 years ago when I was doing a big rewatch and all my shit. Like seeing what's actually worth putting on the shelf and owning physically.
Yeah.
To restate, I am a physical collector. So when I say it's worth owning, that means it's worth having physically on my shelf. Like I actually own Blu-rays of all the shit I'm recommending. That if I say it's in my collection. Claymore did not make the cut. So I don't think it's collection worthy. I don't think it's worth owning, but it is well liked in the community. I know a lot of people like it.
Yeah. Worth a watch?
It's definitely worth a watch. Yeah, for sure. And see what you think. Upon rewatching it, I remember when I was younger, I thought it was a gorgeous anime. I thought it was like really high quality. Upon rewatching it, I think it's kind of ugly, personally. I think it's like most of it is very gray and washed out color scheme they went with. It's not very colorful or vibrant. I just think it's kind of ugly. The animation's just okay. I don't think doesn't do anything particularly outstanding, but it doesn't suck at the same time. It's just kind of whatever.
I mean, based on what we have here on the screen, it looks kind of average.
It's very generico, you know. It's just very like baseline. It's just nothing super special, nothing like mind-blowing or anything like that. But the biggest problem, so I've actually read the entire manga because I watched the show and I got done and I went, huh? The fuck is that? What kind of ending is that? It just literally ends on the main big bad appears and then just fucks off. And they don't even have like a final battle or nothing. So I'm like, what the fuck is that? And then I looked into it and it was like, oh, the manga is completely different. They just made up that ending. So the show adapted like 90% of the show was direct from the manga, but then the last like 10%, the ending arc, they just made all that shit up. Because they just like, let's wrap it up. That's it. We're not going to wait for more of the manga to come in. Fuck you. They only adapted like a fraction of the manga. There's so much source material they didn't touch, so many arcs that are actually good. And I also think the manga, or the ending of the manga, is not great either, funny enough, similar to Gantz. So I do think it needs to be fixed, but I think it's worth bringing back. Reboot it from scratch. Don't like make a new season. Just fucking start it over fresh. Give it a fresh new paint style. Give it a new style together. Do something different. I don't know. Just give it a fresh art style completely. Like revitalize it. Take the core concept and the core characters and then just run with it and do your own thing and then wrap it up with a more satisfying ending. That's how I think Claymore should come back. But yeah, Claymore. I think Claymore is a good pick.
Oh, I like the abilities and stuff that you mentioned.
I think you would dig this. It's not that far off of something like Demon Slayer.
Yeah.
Like I honestly think you would like Claymore. I would recommend getting into it. It's cool. The characters in Claymore are very good. Like they're very well written. Like Claire is a fascinating character, the main character. They rank all the Claymores like in the entire organization. You have a ranking from like number 1 to whatever the bottom one is. It's like 26 or 36 or 100. I don't remember. Claire is the worst ranked Claymore. So she is constantly like near death most fights.
Yeah.
She is just barely scraping by to get through it.
And do their ranks like change at all or?
Yes. So the organization actually changes your ranking depending on your performance. And they're closely monitored. So each one of the Claymores has like, they're like a watcher. So they're paired with somebody from the organization that basically watches them because they have to monitor them very closely because if they awaken, then they have to send all the Claymores at them to kill them. And they also, there's also Claymores in the organization. The organization ends up being kind of shady and I won't get into that. But there's Claymores trained to kill other Claymores. So their abilities are specifically bred to be like anti-Claymore. So the organization has their own anti-Claymore force just in case you get out of line. Yeah.
Chat.
The world of Claymore, buddy. The world of Claymore.
Now the question is, do you bother with the anime or do you just read the manga?
Maybe watch like the first, like don't watch the ending. It's 26 episodes. Maybe watch like the first like 20 episodes and then tap out. Like tap out before it gets that last arc.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's worth watching to see what you think, you know. I remember there being some cool moments in it. I remember the sub and dub was pretty good. The soundtrack was okay. Yeah. Or just go right for the manga. I don't know. One of the two. Whatever you want.
Okay.
How's that? But no, I would say watch a little bit of the anime just to see what it looked like and like see what it was like, you know. It's not incredible, but it's worth checking out for sure. But I remember like I think the manga is good. I think it's it's been years since I read it, but I think the manga was very competent. But that ending is just fucking stupid. It just gets very convoluted, but I mean most things do.
Yeah.
Most things do. I am also extremely nitpicky when it comes to endings. Like I want the endings to be like perfect. I want you to stick the end. I want a satisfying conclusion. Don't make it open-ended. Don't give me no fucking our journey continues. Don't give me anything ambiguous. Wrap up each character's storyline and or plot arc in a satisfying way. And for the love of God, give us happy endings. I'm so fucking sick of downer endings. Don't just kill people off and, you know, like, fuck Attack on Titan's ending. Fuck Attack on Titan. I'm still butthurt about that ending.
Yeah.
Oh, I hate that ending. What did you think of it? You know it all, right?
Yeah.
You read it?
I read it.
Yeah, me too.
I don't hate the ending, but I don't like it. I guess it'd be fair to say I'm neutral, really.
It's so pessimistic.
Yeah.
Like, it's so bleak. It's such a, like, I don't know. It's not, like, to me, endings should be positive and, you know, God forbid, hopeful.
Yeah.
And Attack on Titan is like the exact opposite, where it's just like, nope, humans at their core are awful people and they're never going to be anything but. It's like, is that fun? Why did I even read this? Like, why not just write that on the fuck? How about Attack on Titan, humans are awful and will always be. Great. Now I don't even need, I know the theme of your fucking story that is so fucking long. Because the Attack on Titan's manga is so fucking long.
Yeah.
And I read the whole fucking thing only to get to that part and be like, what? I felt so cheated. I really hoped the anime was going to do it different, but it didn't.
Yeah.
Adapted the same fucking shit. Because they even did the bomb, right? The anime? Because you've watched it now, right?
I'm not completely up to date. When they started doing like 5 parts for the final season, I
Oh, how obnoxious was that, eh?
I mean, like, I get it. Like, the animation is solid.
Yeah.
Like, I'm sure that took time. And props to them for taking the time to do it. But 5 parts? Really?
Oh, it got obnoxious. Yeah.
It's like, what was that? Like 5 years for the final season?
It's like called Attack on Titan Final Season Part 1, Part 2.
Yeah.
It's like, what the fuck?
How much do you need? Just like take the extra time.
Final
and
season.
Release it as one fucking season.
Right. I agree.
You took 7 years to put out season 2. Like, just do that for the final season.
Right.
I'll forgive you.
Final season, final part.
Part 9.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Was that my pick or your pick?
That was yours.
Oh, Claymore, right. Yeah. Oh my God, my next pick is gonna take forever. Why do I pick all these ones that the plot is so not like? I always pick these ones where they have these long arching plots that you can't summarize in like 2 sentences. It takes me like 30 minutes to fucking summarize it. Okay, what do you got next? You got 2 picks left on right?
Yes.
Okay.
So this one is also very short, and also wasn't canceled. It just stopped being made. So Rokka, Braves of the Six Flowers.
What?
So this one.
What in the fuck is this?
This one came out 2015. There are 12 episodes. Basic plot: there are 6 people that they call the Braves of the Six Flowers. They're chosen by the goddess of fate to defeat the demon god.
This is it right here?
Yes, this is it.
All right. It looks like a video game.
Yeah. So, I mean, yeah, literally all it is like 6 people randomly chosen. They end up with these marks. You can actually see it in the top picture there that appeared on his hand. Like some of them get them on their shoulder, their chest, wherever. They can appear anywhere on your body. You are now one of the Braves, and you have to help fight the demon god.
When does this take place? Is this like in a fantasy world, like medieval-esque time?
Yeah, they're like weird, like orc-ish monsters, like spiders and shit. But so we start out with Adlet Meyer, who is the red hair guy. He's the strongest man in the world. He shows up at this tournament where these 2 guys are fighting, and he fights dirty. He fucks both of them up to prove that he is, in fact, the strongest man in the world, and ultimately gets arrested. He ends up being freed by the princess because she is one of the Braves and realizes that he is too. So they start journeying across the land because all the Braves have to meet up in preparation to fight this demon god and like freeing civilians from these monsters that are trying to take over. And all of the Braves meet up, but there's an issue. There are 7 of them. So now they have to figure out which one is the imposter sent by the demon god.
Oh, there's only supposed to be 6.
Yes.
That's right. Okay, yeah. Because I was like, what do you mean there's 7 of them? I'm like, and? Okay.
And that is the first season.
So in this fantasy world, randomly people get these marks on their body. Is it on their hand or it could be anywhere?
It can be anywhere.
Okay. So randomly people get these marks like that guy has there. And when you get the mark, that means you're chosen to
fight the demon god.
And who's the demon god?
We don't know yet.
Well, there's gods in this world?
I guess so, yeah.
Do people have powers?
Not really. It seems like it's mostly just like sword fighting and stuff.
Okay, so it's not
Like
as
smoke bombs and
okay.
caltrops.
Okay, sure. So what is the main conflict? So the main conflict is these characters get together and then
there are 7 of them, and they have to figure out which one is the fake because they don't want their plans to be taken.
No, that makes sense. Yeah. But like they are they all? Is there other entities in this world? Is it all just humans? Because like that chick looks like she has bunny ears, or is that just her fucking hair?
I think that's just her hair.
Oh, okay.
But
So
there are like weird monsters and whatnot.
Are there supernatural beings in this world?
Yeah.
That's my question. There's like, is there demons or elves and orcs and shit?
I don't know about like elves and orcs, but like definitely like demons and whatnot.
Are there Baba Yagas in this world?
Absolutely.
Are there Babadooks in this world?
Sure thing.
Yeah,
Definitely.
Do you know what
Probably.
Do you know what the Babadook is?
No.
Do you remember that horror movie, The Babadook?
I didn't watch it. I know what movie you're talking about. I just haven't seen it.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Cool. Are there? I'll stop. So they represent like humanity's like main heroes. Is that the idea?
Basically, yeah.
Okay. It's very video game-esque.
Oh,
like,
100%.
It's our destiny to be, and this is your party. And, I could see this being like an RPG or JRPG kind of thing. Yeah. So when did this come out?
This was, it was 2015.
Again, pretty recent.
Yeah.
Pretty recent. And how many episodes?
They stopped at 12.
Just the one season.
I mean, like they concluded it. They do in fact figure out who the imposter is.
Oh, okay.
So I mean, it's something, but they never fight the demon god. So there's no conclusion.
So it's kind of nothing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
They get nowhere.
Yeah. So it's not even like why would it even be worth watching? Because like it's so not satisfying.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like the beginning of the journey. It's like we're gonna go on this epic voyage, and we're gonna go on this epic voyage on cruise around the world in the 7. So imagine like One Piece. Like we're gonna go after the One Piece, and I'm gonna become the pirate king, and they never even make it out of the first town. You know what I mean? Like they don't even make it out of the first dock.
Yeah.
Like it's like that basically.
So it hasn't even gotten a ship. It's just
right. Yeah. They never even got the Going Merry. They never even got it. Yeah. Nothing. It's like why would you even watch it? There's nothing to go off of. Is it based on anything?
Yeah, it's based on the manga. I believe the manga has finished.
Oh, so hey,
there's hope.
You never know. Could randomly come back.
Mind you, when I watched it, I didn't know that it just ended.
Oh, so you
until I made it to episode 11, I was like, oh well. I mean, at least I'll see how this season ends, I guess.
Yeah, this season, thinking there might be more.
Yeah, I mean, they never canceled it. They just never announced it.
But I mean, that's how animes work, right? It's like it's basically on infinite hiatus.
Yeah,
it's stuck in limbo for however many years until the studio decides to A, do something with it, or B, fuck it.
Yeah.
I've never heard of this. I don't know. Was this popular? Like, is this?
I don't think it was like super popular.
Yeah. What is it again? It's Rokka Braves of the Six Flowers.
That's it.
Huh. What was how was the quality of it? Was it? It looks.
I mean, it was solid. Like I was locked in for every episode. I think I finished it.
But the animation was pretty good, and
I mean it was a little better than average.
Okay.
It wasn't incredible.
Fight scenes,
but oh, they were awesome.
They were good. Yeah, good fight scenes. Dubs, subs, I don't know what you went with.
I don't even remember what I watched, to be completely honest.
Super memorable, this show. Rokka, super memorable.
Well, the thing is, you might as well forget it because there is no season 2.
Right.
So.
Yeah, I was going to say, there's nothing to go off of here. So what do you want it rebooted as? You just want it to come back and continue the story?
I just want more episodes. I want to know what happens. I mean, ultimately, I'll just turn to the manga, but...
This is a perfect example where they just ended it.
Yeah.
Literally,
well, I mean,
that's
basically everything on my list, right? Is they just ended it.
Yeah, that's just interesting. A lot of my picks are like, they came up with a half-ass ending.
Yeah.
And then so I got like, Soul Eater's ending sucks. Gantz ending sucks. Claymore's ending sucks. The next one I'm about to tell you about, the ending sucks. And then Cyber City, there was no ending because I just want more of it.
Yeah.
It didn't have a technical ending, but it also it wasn't ambiguous. It's just kind of, again, it's just nothing. They just kind of stopped. But because every episode's self-contained anyways, it doesn't ruin that show. But Anything else you want to say about Rokka Braves of the Six?
There's not really much more to add. That's literally like the whole season.
It's a nothing show with a nothing ending that nobody's talking about.
It went nowhere.
That went nowhere fast. This podcast is sponsored by the fine folks at Fly By Night Movies, Games, and Toys. Fly By Night Movies, Games, and Toys is your one-stop shop for everything cool and collectible. We are located in the heart of downtown Oshawa. That is Oshawa, Ontario, Canada. If you're looking for movies, video games, and toys, check us out. We are worth the drive. Okay, so at the beginning, I said that when I was making my list, I was like, I thought at first that I was the one that came up with this topic. Why did you come up with this? I don't even remember this. Like, how did this come about? You must have been talking about something. We're like, dude, this never came back. I'm so annoyed.
So what it was like, I was scrolling through like my queue on Crunchyroll.
Yep.
And I was just looking for something new to start watching, and I saw like the names like Rokka, friggin' what were the other ones again? Recovery of an MMO Junkie, whatnot.
Right.
And I went, none of those came back. Why? Like, I want more of those. And I went, hey, maybe that would make
an interesting
a cool topic.
Yeah. Animes that just never came back / would benefit from like being given a second life.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like when I was making mine, I remember thinking, I'm like, I looked at my list like before I was going through my notes here, and I was just like, honestly, like, yeah, Cyber City, sure, I would love more out of it, but it doesn't ruin it. Soul Eater, Gantz, and Claymore, if they could come back and do it very like they could almost improve those shows, then I'd be into it. But really, there's only one on this list that genuinely breaks my heart. That it never came back. And not only did it never come back, when they attempted to bring it back, it was a slap in the face to fans. So my number one on my list, like in every sense of the word, is the 1997 Berserk anime. Do you know what Berserk is / have you ever seen this?
I started watching the remake.
Stop.
Yeah, I did, as per your recommendation.
You're talking about the CG, the TV show?
Yeah,
okay.
The animation.
Did you watch
great.
the movies?
No.
Okay, they also suck. Don't watch those either.
Okay.
So for anyone that doesn't know, and this is why I'm like, oh, this is going to take a bit. So this is I brought up on the screen here, this is the 1997 Berserk anime. So did you know this existed?
I do. Yeah.
Okay. And you've never seen anything about this, though?
I've wanted to watch it. I just haven't gotten around to it.
Oh, so it's been on your head. Did you find out about this because of me, though? Like the original anime? Or did you just knew this one existed?
Yeah, it was just, I think it was like something I saw online. Like, I've seen quite a bit about it.
And do you know about the controversy about, like, the reboot and all that shit? Or,
not at all.
Okay, well, I'm going to get into that. Okay. So for anyone that doesn't know, the story of Berserk follows the main protagonist, Guts. Literally, his name is Guts. Exactly what you're thinking, like Guts, like your guts, right?
Yeah.
It's a stupid name, but it actually comes from his like fucked up childhood because he was basically born in like he was cut out of the womb of his dead mother. Yeah, it's kind of fucked. He has a very fucked up like origin story. We're not going to get into that.
So his name's a bit on the nose.
Yeah, it's very on the nose. It was given to him by like his pseudo adoptive mercenary father that like kind of raised him / abused him. The world of Berserk is very dark and gritty and adult. It doesn't care about your feelings. It's going to show you fucked up things. It's very bleak. But there's still hope within it. It is, without a doubt, one of the greatest mangas of all time. In my opinion, one of the greatest animes of all time. It's in my probably top 5. I love Berserk. It is like, I'm going to give you a brief synopsis as best I can. It doesn't matter what I say. It is going to be not enough. I can't speak enough. I'm not going to be able to eloquently give you a perfect plot summary of it. If anything, if any semblance of what I'm saying sounds interesting, seek this out on your own. Because no matter what, I'm going to ultimately come up short trying to sell just how good this story is and or the source material is. All that aside, story of Berserk, it's actually very similar to Claymore. It's set in a dark fantasy world. It's like a dark medieval times-esque world. And it follows the main character, Guts, who is a mercenary for hire. And he ends up joining a mercenary group known as the Band of the Hawk. The Band of the Hawk is led by the charismatic and I'll say effeminate / genius tactician Griffith is his name. Griffith is that guy in white there, like the pretty boy looking guy.
Yeah.
Don't let his looks fool you. He is like a god tier tactician / swordsman. Without getting into everything in the story, because Berserk, the original manga, has still not ended. It has been going since 1989.
Wow.
The Berserk manga has been going for 34 fucking years. Which I think is a problem. I said this years ago. George R. R. Martin is a good example of this. Creators, I understand that when something is your life's work and it's your magnum opus, you don't want it to end. So you want to stretch that out as long as possible. You know, it's your baby. The problem is, at a certain point, you got to end that fucking thing and move on. And I said years ago, like, my friends and I used to joke in high school because the manga is one of the most beautifully illustrated mangas ever. It's just gorgeous. It's like the detail is insane in this manga. And my friends and I used to joke back in high school because they would only release a new, I don't know if it's a volume or chapter, but like every year. Like the pace at which the new content came out was so like slow. It was just so like painstakingly waiting for new content that we joked. We were like, the creator's gonna die before this gets finished. And tragically, the creator, and I'm not saying this is a joke, folks, I'm not trying to be funny. Tragically, the creator, Kentaro Miura, died. Literally like a year or two ago, just recently passed away. Before he was able to complete his work, his life's work, which is very sad. But there is a lesson here, and that is you need to end your things. Things need to come to an end, or you need to pass the torch before you die. In case you're wondering, well, if he's dead now, is the manga ruined? And that's what I thought. And I thought, fuck, now a manga that's been running for 34 years is not going to have a fucking ending? Are you kidding me? Thankfully, Miura's best friend, who just also happened to be in the manga industry, is continuing his life's work. And the manga is now ongoing. It's being written and drawn by Miura. Later on, he was getting like his physical, he was getting in poor health, and he ended up having to hire assistants. So he had people that were training on how to draw in his art style. So there is now a team that is composed of his former assistants and his best friend who are working to complete the manga to give it a satisfying ending. So it is still going, and it is going to have an ending. So that's positive. Getting back to the plot for a second. So that all of that is to say, it's like, I'm just going to give you the surface plot of this fucking story because there's 34 years of story to I can't summarize it in fucking 20 minutes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm just giving you the overarching. Guts joins the Band of the Hawks, and the first like one or two major arcs are basically Guts going from, just like his name suggests, a rough crude human being that never really gave much shit about anyone other than himself. He believes, you eat what you kill. Everybody kind of has some angle. He's very jaded. He doesn't trust anyone. He doesn't open up. He doesn't smile. He's very pessimistic. And he meets this charming, effeminate mercenary leader, Griffith, and basically his band of merry men, all of whom are interesting in their own right and are very well developed and well fleshed out. And they basically change his life and alter his personality forever. And he opens up and becomes a version of himself that he would have never thought otherwise possible. And then through a tragic twist of fate, Griffith ends up, so I'll say it's dark fantasy, and it starts off, and the first 2 arcs are very grounded. It's like nobody has any real supernatural abilities. It's like sword on sword combat. And then slowly the curtain starts to be lifted up, and we pull back more and more, and it gets revealed that there are supernatural forces in this world. And they are not good. They are evil. There are demons exist in this world, monsters, horrific beings that are otherworldly from other dimensions even. To the point where humans are actually very low on the totem pole in reality. We don't have the power that, like, all the little skirmishes and fights that all the mercenary groups and the warlords are all having, all the kingdoms are having with each other, are all consequential, because there are beings that can literally wipe out entire forces with not as much effort as you would think. And Griffith, in an unfortunate thirst for power and godhood, gets an opportunity to become like an ultimate being, like a super demon. And he betrays his friends and his mercenary group and takes that path. And forever turns Guts against him. So the 2 main characters in the story are Guts, the main protagonist, and Griffith, the main antagonist. And it's a simple, at its core, plot of revenge, of Guts trying to get revenge for all of his fallen friends because of Griffith's actions, and stopping his once best friend. While that's going on, there's the world itself as a character. So there's all kinds of subplots and other characters, and there's so much more to get into. But that's the basic premise. The original anime, it was from 1997. It only ran for 25 episodes. It is one of my favorite animes. It is absolutely gorgeous. It is so fucking gorgeous. It's just beautiful hand-drawn animation from that golden era. The cinematography is fantastic. The fight scenes have a great flow to them. If you're going to watch, like I watch everything subtitled now. This is one of the few shows I watch dubbed. I love the dub for this. It has a really good dub.
Yeah.
The soundtrack is incredible. Like I think there's album releases of the soundtrack. It's so good. Interestingly, I think the show actually had a low budget. And one of the things they did to compensate for that, have you ever seen an animes where like it'll just cut to a still image, but then they like zoom in on the image or pan the image, or you know what I mean? It'll cut to like, and by still image, I mean like it's like a hand drawn, like a painted thing.
Yeah.
So they use that in this show a lot. But what would be a hindrance and a negative is actually a positive, because they do such a good job using it to really sell these moments They choose when it cuts to a still image, they choose it wisely, and you get these gorgeous fucking paintings like intercut into the animation, and it like slow pans into them or zooms out or zooms in, and they do such a good job interjecting them in that it becomes its own thing. So it's not a hindrance per se, you know? It's great. It only had 25 episodes.
Sounds like a bit of a shame considering the manga is so long.
So when I first watched, this is one of the first animes I ever watched in high school when I was first getting into animes. It was like one of the first times I felt betrayed by a show, because it ends really where it begins. So it covers the first 1 or 2 arcs. We get to Griffith's betrayal, which is going to set the stage for the entirety of the rest of the story. The dynamics, the roles have been set, and then it just ends. And it literally ends with Guts now his life's goal has now changed. His purpose is completely different. He's lost everyone, basically. And he straps himself with brand new armor, a brand new mission. We now know this is a whole new world. First, we thought there was just men. Now we know there are monsters in this world. Guts is aware that there are monsters. His best friend is now a monster, and he's going to throw himself into the fire. And we're going to learn more through his eyes about this world. And it literally ends with him walking out the doorway, and an old man who builds his sword and his armor says, "Don't get yourself killed." And that's it.
Wow.
And we never got anything else. That was it. It's like the ultimate tease, and it just nothing ever. And this is a beloved anime. Like, I'm not alone. Like, a lot of people reference this as like god tier, golden era, like top 90s animes of all time. It's hyper violent. It's mature as fuck. It's not made for children. There's no power levels. This is an adult fucking adaptation. It's an adult story. It's very mature.
Yeah. I mean, I still hear people talking about the original Berserk like it was released yesterday.
It's beloved. And it just tragically never got more. I can't say why. I don't know, because the manga was hugely popular and remains hugely popular to this day. It's never reached the heights of, say, a shonen adaptation. I don't think it's ever gotten even close to that. But it's loved worldwide. There's been video games based on it. There's been movies, which we're going to get into right now. So the original anime, with its gorgeous painted style and its beautiful animation, its perfect soundtrack, and all the plus, it never continues. They made a couple movies. I don't remember when these came out. I think they came out before the CG show. So they made a couple movies that retold the shit in the original show. They weren't sequels. They retold shit. And then they went a little bit further than the original show did. It was a set of 3 movies. I think the movies suck because the animation is garbage. It's not the worst. You can do way worse, and we're getting to that. But I didn't think it was very good. I think it streamlines too much shit. I think it needed like moments of rest, because a big thing about this show is like, let me just bring up this image right here. Like, what comes to mind when you see that image? Like, what do you think is going on there?
He looks like he's suffering.
And like, what does that look like to you? What do you think he's doing there? It's just a man's, to describe for all our viewers listening, we have a man bandaged up with a giant sword resting on his shoulder. It's nighttime. It's a starry sky. He's sitting on a rock, just looking out into the horizon. What do you think he's doing?
I mean, he seems like he's recovering from battle, possibly coping with a loss.
Yeah, he's just, it's a moment of respite. He's just reflecting. And there's tons of moments in this story where the characters just take a break and rest and reflect on like what's going on. And the movies kind of they take out too much of that and they streamline it too much and they try to make it cool and actiony. And yeah, Berserk has all that shit. But part of what makes it special is that it treats its characters with such love that the world, it takes time to pause. And I think that's important when you have a story that long. You can't pace it at a breakneck pace. You gotta pause, that's the mature thing to do. And Berserk thankfully does that. So the movies aren't great. I don't recommend them. They're not like, they pale in comparison to the original anime. They don't look better. They don't do a better job telling the story. Fuck the movies. When they first got announced, I got super excited because I went, Berserk's coming back. Like, I've been waiting since fucking high school for anything to happen. Now we're getting them. And they weren't great. And they teased they were going to adapt way more shit because the original anime just scratched the fucking surface, right? Sorry, folks, I'm losing my voice here. Blame Kevin because we did that. Kevin and I did a fucking nigh 4-hour podcast where I went on some rants and burnt my throat out a bit. So sorry if my throat's pretty raspy today. I don't have much left to say here. So the movies weren't great. Then they did a 2016 CGI reboot of the original show. I'm pretty sure it retold what the original anime did and then just added more again. It got 2 seasons. It is one of the worst animes I've ever seen. And that's not just because I love Berserk. It's just one of the worst animes I've ever seen. You watched this anime.
I watched 9 episodes of this anime.
What did you think of this anime before I get into it?
The animation wasn't great. I mean, it kind of, like, the story suffered for it. It's like, it was distracting because it was so bad.
It is beyond amateur. So it's CGI, but it's like this god-awful aesthetic, like design choice where they tried to make it look like it was hand-drawn CGI. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
And it looks fucking god-awful. It looks terrible, and the animation is awful, and the movements are awful, and the direction is awful. Like, everything they could fuck up is fucked up. Everything is wrong. It was the biggest insult you could possibly do because it got all of us hopeful that Berserk was finally coming back, and they gave us that. How it got a second season, I don't know. I genuinely don't know. My only thought was, idiots like me, we all tuned in hoping it was going to be great. And then because of that, it boosted the ratings. And they went, well, this was a hit. Let's greenlight a second season. Meanwhile, it was a piece of fucking shit.
Yeah.
And the second season improved literally nothing. It's fucking terrible.
I mean, just looking at like some of the images here.
I mean, just look at this.
It's like
look at this.
The animation did not do it justice.
No, I'm not even going to bring up on the screen the 2016 Berserk CGI shit.
You might damage your computer.
It's going to upset me is what it's going to do because it just was so bad. So they did it. So it technically had a reboot, but I don't care. I'm putting Berserk on the list because that didn't count. That was not a real fucking attempt. That was nothing. And it only got 2 seasons. I don't even know how it ended, but it didn't fucking continue the manga. It didn't get far at all. It got nowhere. And it's fucking bullshit. It just sucks. So fuck that 2016 CGI reboot. Fuck the movies. Just watch the 97 original anime. Now, what do I want out of a reboot? Honestly, I know this sounds impossible, but this is what I want. I want this continued. Because this it has an open-ended ending.
Yeah.
The original ends with Guts walking out the door, ready to start the real story. Pick up right there. Just make a sequel to this.
Now, would you want it back to hand-drawn animation?
Yes. Oh, absolutely. Don't do fucking CG. I want hand-drawn animation. It's never going to have the fidelity of this era because they're not going to draw it by hand. They're going to draw it on tablets and then make it digitized or however they do it now. Yeah. They're all going to be like 2D puppets, and that's fine. I don't mind that. I just want a top-tier studio to do it. I want the best in the business to handle this. That's what it deserves. Like, the original manga, it's like the most beautiful fucking manga, like the most gorgeous illustrations you're ever going to see. You have to hire the most competent animation studio to match that level of illustration. Don't hire a nothing studio to make it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Don't do it a fucking disservice. So, no, I want the top tier animators in the business to adapt this. I want to see them at their fucking A game, the top of their game. I want to see what they come up with. And that's who needs to do it. And that's how it needs to be adapted. That's how it needs to be handled. And I don't want a retelling of the original fucking anime. I want them to just continue from that point on. Pick up exactly where it left off. Guts leaves the door ready to start off. Pick up right there. And then keep it going. And the problem is the logistics because it's like One Piece. There's so much material, like 34 years, dude.
Yeah.
Of story. So there's so much to adapt. I'm okay if they trim the fat a little bit because, to be honest, in the manga, there's a lot of arcs that are filler-esque and arcs that go on way too long that could be streamlined, like trimmed a little bit.
Yeah.
So I'm okay if they trim things and tighten up the story. It just needs a ton of episodes. That's the reality. So like, do I think this is going to happen? It's probably never going to happen because somebody with some real money has got to like support this for like fucking 9 seasons or something, or 10 seasons to adapt a significant portion of it and then give it the proper ending. The original ending, the proper ending's still not even out yet, right? So, but they have so much content. It's like, fuck, they'll be making this show for years. By that time, the manga will have ended. Then they'll adapt that. So, but it breaks my heart. I honestly want this to get finished. I really do.
Yeah.
I want to see this get finished, but it needs to be a top tier studio that does this, that brings it back. Love has to go into this, or I don't want to see it. It can't be half-assed. It needs tons of episodes. It needs an insane budget. It needs top-tier animators. That's the only way to make this, to reboot it effectively. Yeah. Anything short of that, fuck off. Just leave us alone because we don't need it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, got to be honest. Like, the amount I've heard about it, like, I could have sworn it would have been more than, like, 26 episodes or whatever.
Just the one season.
But I guess everybody's just talking about the manga. But it's got enough of a following. You'd kind of expect them to do a little better with it.
And the funny thing is, now is the best time to do it because, like, there's been video games based on this, multiple video games based on this. Like, there's merchandise based on this, like toys, action figures. Like, it has a huge fan base. It's not nothing. Now would be the best time to do it too because there's so much hype surrounding the end of the manga. Like, this is going to be a big fucking deal, you know?
Yeah.
Like, not only did the creator die, there's readers that read it and died before it got finished also. Like, a lot of the fans have died. Maybe that's the reason they shouldn't adapt it now that I think about it. But there you go, John. That's my last pick, and that's the only one that really matters. I know I gave you 4 other ones. Fuck all the other ones. Just give me Berserk. I would gladly trade every pick on my list and on your list except for Berserk to make this get a reboot. Fuck your Deadman Wonderland. Fuck your MMO person, Survivor, whatever. I don't even remember half your other picks.
Well, yeah. I mean, you're so passionate about this. There's no room for those.
There's no room for anything else in my brain. Yeah. Okay, what do you got? Your last anime that deserves a second life / reboot.
All right, so this one I threw on my list. I won't lie to you. It's because they announced a live action. It's Yu Hakusho.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So this is where I thought we were going to have that crossover.
I thought about putting this on my list, but the original anime has a lot to it. Like it does, you're not shortchanged with that. Like it's a pretty lengthy anime.
Yeah.
It got like 4 seasons that are all very long. It adapted a lot of the source material. I know it didn't adapt all the arcs.
Yeah.
But yeah. No, but I mean, Yu Hakusho I like a lot. Yeah. It's a solid show.
So full disclosure, I never actually completely finished it. I'm close.
The anime?
But I haven't actually finished the anime.
Okay. Yep.
I haven't heard great things about the ending.
The final arc kind of sucks. That's the problem. Is the thing with Yu Hakusho is like the show is like, I don't know, maybe like 5 big arcs, and the first 2 are like the best in the entire show.
Yeah.
Specifically the tournament arc, the dark tournament arc is like one of the greatest arcs in like an anime of all time. Like it almost started the tournament arc in all other animes to follow. Yeah. And because of that, the later arcs in the show are so much weaker in comparison. They're not bad, but they just feel weaker. And because of that, it feels like the show goes downhill.
Yeah.
Yeah. It peaks too quick. But for those that don't know, what is the premise of Yu Hakusho?
It's basically after Yusuke is killed while saving a child's life, the rulers of the underworld send him back to become a spirit detective, investigating demons, apparitions in the human world.
Which is the most base part of, that's like scratching the surface.
Yeah,
that's how it
literally
just starts, basically. That's arc 1. Yeah.
Quickly, very quickly evolves. Him, he went to the underworld, right?
Well, it quickly evolves into like, so basically there's like the spirit world, the human world, and the demon world.
Yeah.
And the demon world is constantly trying to fuck with the human world. And the spirit world is where I think that's, because even when you become a demon, you go there too. Yeah, so spirit world is like, once you die, everybody goes there anyways. The spirit world's kind of like the happy medium that tries to maintain the balance of power. So then the spirit world ends up recruiting people in our world to help maintain the balance and stop demons from coming into the human world and vice versa and fucking with each other, essentially. Yeah. The demons are the main antagonists of the show. The humans that end up getting recruited, the primary humans, are Yusuke, the main guy, and his close friend group. 2 of which are actual demons. So it's not all demons are bad, not all humans are good, that kind of thing. There's evil humans that are fucked up, that act like demons.
Yeah.
There's demons that are good people that also try to protect humans and try to protect the Earth's world, right? They get recruited on both sides. And then there's all kinds of different antagonists and plots and things like that. That's the base. I mean, that gives you more of like an overview of the series.
Yeah.
Yeah. A little bit more to it.
I mean, for the most part, all of his friends start as enemies. Excuse me. After their fights, they become allies. They go into the demon world and enter I don't remember the name of the tournament.
The Dark Tournament.
Yeah, the Dark Tournament. And I don't even remember why they went into the tournament, to be honest.
So they go into the tournament to fight, is it Togura?
Oh, yes. Yeah. The Toguras.
Yeah, the 2 brothers.
Yeah.
Yeah, that are like the main antagonists.
The one that's an actual badass and the one that's just kind of riding his coattails.
Yeah, one guy's like a wimpy little fuck. Yeah, so they go into the tournament specifically to stop that guy. And then also it's like whoever wins the tournament, I think, gets a wish.
Yeah.
Yeah, you get a wish. You actually get like any wish granted possible. Like any wish you want, it becomes granted. So they're trying to win to stop the main guy from using it for evil, essentially.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, the whole tournament arc, I found fascinating. You know, the whole audience cheering against him. And they're doing everything they can to try to screw them out of this tournament.
Oh, yeah. They don't
want the humans to win.
No,
right?
They don't want the humans to win.
But in the end, when it starts kind of turning the tides and it's like, oh, these guys are all right. Like, pretty cool. Like, I'm going to start cheering for him. Like that fascinated me. But that's about where I've left off.
Oh, so you didn't get any further. Okay, so you're not even like the later arcs yet? Or
no,
anything?
not at all.
Okay, cool.
But,
so what? You haven't even got to the part. Yeah, I was going to say. So what makes you want it to get a reboot then?
So
because you're not even done the original source material yet.
So my thought was I watched the trailer for the live action.
Which, by the way, we're both going to watch and or review on the show for sure.
Now, I didn't critique the trailer. I didn't cross my mind, but when I watched it, I was like, maybe it'll be all right, but kind of
looks okay. I don't know. One Piece somehow got pulled off decently.
Yeah, so, I mean, there's hope.
Yep.
But I thought, not so much like a remake, because, the story's pretty good, but like a remaster, Just redo it.
Like with
Keep the
updated
story.
visuals?
Yeah, exactly. Just so future fans can have a better idea of what's going on. And I mean, they're more likely to watch it with the updated animation, right? Because not everybody's so willing to jump back to
old school
animation from the 90s.
What about if they did like a Bleach, like what Bleach did though, like with 1,000-year Blood War arc? Like, what if they brought it back and just adapted the last couple arcs they never adapted from the manga?
No, that'd be cool too.
And then just did that and updated. Like, would you? That's my question. Would you rather a clean start, or would you want them? Do you want them to Brotherhood it, or do you want them to Bleach it? Ooh.
So truthfully, I didn't know that they hadn't adapted the last few arcs.
I think I could be pulling this out of my ass, folks. I'm not 100% sure, but I think
if that is the case, then absolutely I would prefer that.
Yeah.
But if not, then just re-release it.
Like start from scratch.
Yeah.
Yeah. Brotherhood it.
Yeah. It's like that story doesn't necessarily have to be different. I mean, I've heard mixed reviews of the end. So I mean, if you wanted to adapt that more like the anime,
I don't know. I could be making that up. I think it's got to be a manga that it's based on. Yeah.
Yeah.
It has to be. But I don't know if I don't think they adapted everything. Like I don't know. I never looked into it because to me it was like I watched the whole thing and I was like, yeah, that was really good. I liked it. It was very solid. It was better than I expected it to be.
Yeah.
It's one of those old school animes I don't think gets enough love. I think Yu Hakusho definitely deserves more love. So I'm excited that it's getting a live action adaptation just for the fact that more people, it's going to bring more eyeballs to it. Because I've mentioned it to many people and they're like, huh, what is that? And it's like, yeah, you know how you like Dragon Ball's tournament arcs and Naruto probably has tournament arcs, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
Everything has tournament arcs. Yeah. Thank you, Hakusho, because that's like the granddaddy of all that shit. That's like the shit that started a lot of the tournament style, like that whole format. Yu Hakusho has like one of the best tournament arcs of all time. The Dark Tournament arc is fucking awesome. And it's a fun concept. It's a fun show. It's slick. The original anime is very, very good looking. It's great golden era hand-drawn animation.
It's easy to watch for sure.
Great fight scenes, great choreography, fun characters, fun abilities, fun villains and shit. Everybody's got quirky abilities.
I mean, I thought the spirit gun was going to get old because like how far can you go with that? But it's still, it maintains it.
No, they twerk it. They twerk it enough. And all the other characters get, like his friends get buffs as well in unique ways.
Yeah. I definitely didn't expect to like Kuwabara.
It's my favorite character.
Yeah. Oh, he's cool.
Yeah. Kuwabara, who initially starts out as Yusuke's rival and then becomes his, debatably his best ally.
Yeah.
Yeah. They have some very powerful moments. Have you finished the tournament arc?
Yes, I have.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So you've seen the powerful moments they get. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. They have some really deep moments.
I really liked the whole conclusion.
Well, dude, they're Goku and Vegeta.
Oh, literally. Yeah.
Dude, Kuwabara is Vegeta. Literally.
Yeah.
Although Yusuke does act like Vegeta at times because he's an asshole, but yeah. No, he's the Vegeta to Yusuke's Goku for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But no. So for that one, I'd say if they haven't adapted the last few arcs or whatever, then just bring it back like 1,000-Year Blood War. Otherwise, Brotherhood it.
Fair enough. That's I want them to bleach it personally. I think continue on, but I don't 100% know if if it's based on a manga. Like I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know, so I can't guarantee that answer. But it almost went on my list. Had it gone on my list, I would have done the research to tell you that.
Yeah.
But it didn't end up because I was just like, I'm happy with where it ended. I'm happy with what we got out of it.
Hey, otherwise, 112 episodes. Check them out.
Yeah, I mean, fuck, it's not a small, like, it's not like it was a 26 episode.
Yeah.
It ran for a while, man. 112's, that's a good
That's
fucking...
multiple seasons.
Yeah, and like long seasons.
Yeah.
And a lot of it's not filler, The third arc drags a little bit, I think, personally, which I'm kind of not hyping that up for you because that's the new shit you're about to get to, but
Yeah.
it's still solid, man. It's still solid. It's good old school anime for sure. Yeah. We should wrap this up before I lose my voice completely. Anything else you'd like to add?
Well, real quick, honorable mention. I was going to throw ReZero, Starting Life from Another World at Zero, onto my list.
But isn't that still ongoing?
So that's the thing is there was no announcement of a new season, and it's been a couple years.
Okay.
But I threw it on my list early November. And as of November 12th, they have announced its comeback in 2025.
Oh, okay. So there you go. So it is coming back anyways. Yeah. So it just went on hiatus, basically.
Yeah, pretty much. So that came off my list. But also real quick, because I forgot to mention it earlier, because I shit on it so heavily last episode, Zom 100 is coming back.
Yeah, we talked about it on that episode, I think. You told me it was coming back.
We talked about it when we were hanging out, but we haven't talked about it on the podcast.
Yeah, we talked about in the last episode.
Well, we talked about them going on indefinite hiatus.
Oh, did we not talk about that it was coming back?
They only announced it like a week or so ago.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, I didn't know this.
December 25th, it's coming back. So I'm sorry for shitting on it so heavily.
On Zom?
Yeah.
I don't remember you shitting on it. You liked it as much as I did.
Yeah. But I was hurt that they just oh yeah, by the way, we did 9 episodes. Fuck yourself.
Yeah.
So they are coming back for the final 3 episodes as of Christmas.
Did we confirm if Zom's based on a manga, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I believe so.
Okay. Yes. Okay. So there's lots of material they could still adapt.
Yeah.
Then. Okay. All right. I mean, sure. Okay. Good update, I guess. John's thrilled about Zom coming back. I don't remember you really being super negative about it.
Well, I mean, my whole thing was I think I threw a jab in there because I was comparing the live action to the anime, and I said, hey, well, at least the live action had an ending.
I do remember you saying that because I was like, oh, the live action was like a movie or something, right? Yeah, that surprised me. Yeah.
So, I mean, I had my little jabs.
I still did the stupid shark.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Hey, it looked cool.
Yeah, as you said. Yeah. Anything else we'd like to say about animes that should be rebooted?
No, that's all for me.
Let's quickly go through our lists just to refresh everybody. So these are animes that both of us are animes that we think individually deserve a second life and or a reboot. I've got Soul Eater, Gantz, Cyber City Oeda 808, Claymore, and Berserk.
And I have Deadman Wonderland, Noragami, Recovery of an MMO Junkie, Rokka, Braves of the Six Flowers, and Yu Hakusho.
And there you have it, folks. That is a list of 10 different animes that we think deserve a second chance, a second life, and or a reboot. Join us next episode where we will be discussing, what the fuck are we talking about?
I believe that's our fall anime episode.
Oh, fall anime, good. I'm excited to talk about some shit. I watched some bangers.
Yeah.
I have some good shit to talk about. Usually, I find each season, it's I'll talk about 5 or 6 shows, but in reality, only one of them I'm going to really recommend. I think I got a lot more with this one. It's been a strong fall viewing. How's your viewing going so far?
It's going pretty good. I've tried to be a little more critical.
Okay.
So I'm trying to be a little less forgiving with nonsense.
Is that triggered because you're maybe doing a podcast with a snobby,
yes,
critical?
A little bit.
Good. I mean, that's good.
I mean,
if I can help improve your tastes a little bit, that makes me feel like I've done my job.
You can't like everything, but I'll try.
Sometimes you get there. Yeah, no, I got I have a few bangers to talk about. A few bangers and quite a few duds. So look forward to that. That will be our next podcast. That's going to be our next episode of AnimEH. This is episode 4 or 5?
I think it's 4.
Yeah, I think it's 4. So that'll be episode 5. We're going to do a fall 2023 recap and or whatever other topics come to our mind, but that's going to be the main topic for next episode. I've like burnt out my voice. Fuck, I really shot it. I don't know why. I think it's just because it's getting colder out right now, and I tend to lose my voice quite a bit because I talk so loud. I don't know if the viewers at home have noticed that my voice tends to be louder than the other people I'm at the table with.
Which is funny because I'm closer to the mic.
Yeah, it wouldn't matter. You could you could make love to that microphone and I still would I could be in the other room. You'd still hear my voice louder.
Yeah.
But yeah, I tend to lose my voice a lot, unfortunately. Fortunately, it just kind of blew out a little early in this podcast. So sorry, folks, you had to deal with my more gravelly version of my voice. I'll make sure to rest it next time and pace myself before going into rants.
In the spirit of Berserk, I'd like to think you put that voice on, so it seemed like you were like a veteran, like a battle-hardened
Yeah, actually,
veteran.
It's funny you say that because I was feeling bad. I was like, fuck, I blew my voice and I'm trying to give this love letter to this anime that I love, that I like so much, and I'm doing it a disservice by having this crackly voice,
I mean, truthfully, it fit the theme.
Oh, okay, good. So that it ended up being, it ended up working out then, I guess. Okay, I don't think we have anything left to say, so we'll leave it there. Until next time, please like, subscribe, comment below with some other recommendations, some other animes that you would like to see get a second life, a second chance, and or a reboot. Tell us if you thought we were right. Tell us if you thought we were wrong. And as always, thank you for watching. Until next time, see ya.